Firewalker. 10:35 Eastern, Sunday morning on TBS. The following is a presentation of TBS Sports.
Prime time television.
Come on, Ken. Prime time.
Yeah, come on. Millions of dollars worth of the most exotic props you've ever seen. Big time back, big bucks, just to get their names on a 100-mile-per-hour marquee sign. And a standing room audience of 70,000 high rollers at the biggest sporting event in the state. And stars, have we got stars. Leading the list of players, matinee idol Ernie Irvan.
Ernie Irvan starts from the pole where there's a $60,800 Unical bonus. Can you cash in on that, Ernie?
Well, I sure like to. You know, this Kodak Film Chevrolet been running good in practice, ran good in qualifying. It's just 400 laps, so we'll talk about it again.
Season's box office leader, Bill Elliott.
Bill Elliott, you're starting way back in the 25th spot here. You're trying to protect your points lead. How do you look at it tonight?
Well, you know, we had a problem at Darlington with a flat tire. We got back early in the race, and it's no different there than it is here. You know, we had kind of a bad day qualifying, but we'll take what we got. Feel like we ought to run good tonight and wait and see. Thank you.
Every time this fan favorite has a baby, he goes on a winning streak, leading the polls for Father of the Year, Darrell Waltrip.
Well, that winning streak stands at 2. You've won the last 2. Can you make it 3 in a row?
Hey, I'll tell you what, I'm real racy tonight. We've been fast all day in practice, and I just feel like we can do it.
In the midst of his farewell tour, saying goodbye to Richmond for the very last, the King.
Well, the King, Richard Petty, is picking up all types of accolades here at the start-finish line. He's a couple minutes yet from getting inside the race car, but Richard Petty gladly picking up accolades in front of 70,000 fans. Every one of them here will be pulling for Richard Petty this evening.
The Richmond 400 is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinkin' Bush Light. By Goodyear, #1 in tires. By Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars. And Napa, because there are no unimportant parts.
TBS brings you live the Richmond 400. Hello, everyone. Ken Squire at Richmond International Raceway. We're on this 3/4-mile track. $600,000 is about to be divvied up among the very best with our live coverage following the 35-car field amassed down below us right now. A lot of great stories here tonight. There's Bill Elliott leading the Winston Cup standings by 119 as he comes into tonight's battle. But Bill Elliott finds himself starting in 25th position. And Neil Bonnet, he's got some racing to do if he intends to stay up on top.
He's going to have to get up there in a hurry. Right now, he's leading a points battle, but if Davey Allison, who starts 5th, should finish that far ahead of him, the battle will be over in Davey's side. Davey will take the lead if they finish like it is now. We talked about the points battle. Let's talk about the Battle of Richmond. For more on that, let's go to the STP Pit Communication Center with Rick Benjamin.
Well, thanks, Neil. Good evening, everyone. It's going to be a marvelous battle here tonight at Richmond International Raceway. Some wonderfully strong drivers starting up front, and Bill Elliott, as we've documented, will go from the rear of the field tonight. Some of the drivers certainly who will be contending tonight, Davey Allison, who has had very much an up-and-down season. Davey has led the points battle 15 weeks so far out of the 22 Winston Cup season weeks, and Davey is certainly primed for a strong run here tonight. Another driver we'll be keeping our eye on tonight, also in the top 5 in points, Alan Kulwicki, second here in March on TBS by 18 inches, a winner on the short track at Bristol, Virginia earlier this year. Kulwicki certainly a strong candidate tonight. Gentlemen.
I'm on headset.
Well,
Hello.
And before we go topside to Ken Squire and Neil Bonnet, let's let you know who is working in the pits for us tonight. Patrolling pit lane, as usual, Randy Pemberton on TBS Sports. At the other end of pit lane, normally we have Dr. Dick Berggren, the editor of Stock Car Racing Magazine. Our condolences to the Berggren family. Dick's mom passed away this week, and Dick couldn't be with us, but we're very grateful to the Nashville Network for letting us use one of their finest men. Glenn Jarrett will be with us tonight at the other end of pit road.
Well, thanks, Rick. It certainly is a pleasure to be here, and the thoughts and prayers of all the TBS crew are with Dick Berggren and his family tonight.
Getting set for a start on the Richmond 400. Field is amassed, and we'll be back to take a look at the starting grid in a moment. Stay with us. Live coverage of the Richmond 400 tonight on TBS.
Folks in these parts think Tom Lawton is the best thing to ever turn a wrench. But back east, they'll put their money down on the guys at McClellan's. It seems in every town there's always one place that does a little bit better job fixing your car. And it seems the things they all have in common are great mechanics, great service, and Napa parts. Look for the sign of quality car repair. Napa.
Where to find the Mountain Man. A mountain man can often be found on the trail of adventure, in search of remote watering holes, or weathering harsh climates. Most often, however, you'll find the Mountain Man wherever you find smooth bush beer or easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and find yourself in the wide, open world of the Mountain Man.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
When your engine is working hardest and needs protection most, Castrol GTX is the only leading motor oil that meets the world's toughest requirements for viscosity breakdown in every grade. Fact is, the only way you can get that kind of performance from any other leading brand of oil is like this. Castrol GTX, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Try Castrol Super Clean for tough, greasy jobs. If it won't come clean with Super Clean, it won't come clean.
Atlanta's out to widen their lead in the West, but Houston's young guns are there to prove that raw energy is an unpredictable edge. The Braves at the Astros, live at 2:30 Eastern Sunday on TBS.
General Samuel Wakefield has just given the command to fire the engines, and we're set to go racing here at Richmond International Raceway. And it's time for us to take a look at the Valvoline starting grid for tonight's racing program, event number 23 on the season. Ernie Irvan, he's on the pole for tonight's go, the California campaigner. And alongside of Ernie Irvan will be Ricky Rudd, who's having a great latter part of the season. Going to row 2, and there you have Rusty Wallace, the 1989 winner. Mr. Consistency these days, it'll be Alan Kowicki alongside. In row 3, the 1988 winner. Remember that great win when his dad started the event and he finished it? Davey Allison's there. And Jimmy Hensley of Ridgeway, Virginia. Row 4 tonight is Texas Terry Labonte from Corpus Christi and Brett Bodine from Chemung, New York. In row 5, Jeff Bodine, his elder brother, and Ken Schrader from Missouri. In row 6, two-time winner of the event, Dale Earnhardt and Dick Trickle from Wisconsin. In row 7, Batesville, Arkansas's Mark Martin and the 4-time champion, Darrell Waltrip. Row 8 is Harry Gant and Dale Jarrett. For row 9 tonight, Kyle Petty and Morgan Shepherd. In row 10, it's Rick Mast and Spanaway, Washington's Derek Cope. Row 11, Wally Dallenbach from Colorado and Wisconsin's Jim Sauter. Row 12, Michael Waltrip and Jeff Purvis from Tennessee. Row 13, Bill Elliott out of Dawsonville, Georgia, who won here in the springtime, and Ted Musgrave. Row 14 is Jimmy Means and Hut Strickland. Row 15 is Sterling Marlin and the 7-time winner, Richard Petty. In row 18 tonight is Bobby Hamilton and Chad Little of Spokane, Washington. Row 17, Jimmy Horton from New Jersey, Wisconsin's Dave Marcus. Rounding out the field from Alabama, Stan Smith becomes a provisional starter. Full Moon Racing tonight here at Richmond International Raceway, Neil. Field rolling out. We have 400 laps, 300 miles to be covered. We watched them last night in Grand National competition. Any thoughts as we get ready for tonight's go?
I think what we're going to see is a good race. You know, when you come to a racetrack, it's supposed to be a racetrack, not a follow the leader. And we've already seen it when they redesigned this racetrack. It made the cars capable of racing two abreast. Good side-by-side racing in the corner. We saw a lot of good cars pass on the outside. I think tonight we're going to see some guys. There's Rusty Wallace, who's been back a little bit. He's right in the middle. He's real aggressive. We've got Ernie Irvan up front. Kyle Petty. There's a lot of cars that can jump out there and fight for the lead. And I think we're going to see a big battle tonight.
Let's take a look at this course, this 3/4 mile course. Let's get a unique course description.
One of the things that's so unique about this racetrack now, the drivers have to use their head, not just their foot on the throttle. When you go down the corner like this, you see Waltrip in the 17 car. Watch right here. Let's stop the frame right here just a minute. You see the 17 car trying to turn down under the 59. But Darrell himself said last night he actually made too much of a run too quick. If he'd have laid back a little bit more, he said he could pass him on the inside. Let's roll the tape a little bit more. You see him have to lift off the throttle, his only option, fall behind the 59, try to make another run. But what's going in this corner? The 59 car dives to the inside. Let's stop the frame right here. We see Waltrip doing the only thing he could possibly do, try the outside of the racetrack. 59 protecting inside, 17's got to do it on the outside. It's almost impossible pass. Let's watch the rest of the tape. Watch Waltrip's car get loose out there on the outside. It's possible to pass out there, but on the last lap, it's going to be a tough move to make. We'll see it all night long, guys, working to stay on the inside of this racetrack.
And that's the way that Robert Presley won, using corner 2 and corner 4 to give himself a victory in that very last lap last night. Now, Richard Petty was starting up in front here, just taking an honorary lap in front of the field, and he has now fallen back into his position for the race. We're riding with Mark Martin, car number 6, carrying an onboard camera tonight for us as he settles down for his start.
Talk about something unique, Ken. Look at the flash bulbs in the grandstand. You think these people don't like nighttime racing? They're flashing all the way around.
Now you're riding in the Trop Arctic car of Jimmy Hensley, a little further back in the field as he gets ready to go this evening, right behind Alan Kowicki. And he actually is starting a little closer to the front. Jimmy Hensley had that great starting position of 6. He had a tremendous run in the Cale Yarborough car. And here's Derek Cope's car up toward the back of the field. Car number 10, the Purolator car, also carrying an onboard camera for this evening's race.
Last night, the shot we showed just in out of the car, and the same shot you're seeing now, you saw empty seats because they didn't sell the back straight away in turn 1 and 2. You will not see an empty seat tonight. They're sitting in each other's laps. This place is packed.
Speed limit on pit road tonight?
35 to 45. They were talking about 35, 45, and they dropped it down to 35, I think.
They had talked earlier today about going up to 45 for tonight, but I know it had been a question. Showing the take 1 to the field. No, I think we're going to get a go this time by. Take a look at this shot of this sold-out house. Been sold out for 3 months, and they've added some 14,000 seats.
They did give them one more to go right now. This nighttime racing, they usually give them an extra lap to get their oil warmed up in the cars. These cars actually have thermostats on the oil coolers now. They have never seen it, but for this nighttime racing, they put a thermostat until the oil gets warm. It doesn't go through the oil coolers. They're trying to keep these motors together.
Well, there it is. It's a gem. Richmond International Raceway. How far it has come since it used to be the old Strawberry Hill racetrack 40, 50 years back. Pennzoil aerial platform giving us this dramatic picture of this lovely racetrack that has everything as far as I'm concerned. It acts like a super speedway, yet it really is a short track. Gives you that kind of action. Qualified today at 120 miles an hour. Ernie Irvan getting up there for the point.
Some of the people in the state just while ago said every time they come here they break records because they add seats and they add more people. It's a new record every time they hold events for sporting events in Virginia.
Mark Martin back there in the 13th position. Pontiac pace car breaks onto pit road. We're ready to go racing with Ernie Irvan and Ricky Rudd up in front. As the sun sets, the excitement goes up at Richmond International Raceway as they break into turn number 1.
right out front, Kenny. Last night he did the same thing as Bushcar. He jumped right in the lead.
Look at Kowicki go to third, and here comes Rusty Wallace trying to shoehorn his way through on the bottom. Clean start and 1 lap down. 399 to go. Here's Ricky Rudd in that second spot. You want to hug that inside rail, as Neil was pointing out, that close description. Turn 2 is so tight. You've got to be just right to get through there. Alan Kowicki, look at him running in third.
I'll tell you what's impressive is Ricky Rudd. You know, everybody was concerned that the 4 car might jump out there and run away, but Rudd's not letting him get away from him. He's putting a lot of pressure on him. Rudd has always run well at this racetrack, including the old racetrack. This is his home track, and he runs well when he comes here. There he is. He's turning down up under the 4 car.
Looking for his
4th turn.
13th Winston Cup victory. The Chesapeake, Virginia native dives down to the bottom in turn number 1. And Ernie Urban, the California campaigner, slams the door.
That's what's so good about this racetrack, Jim. Usually at a track, when a guy gets that much beside you, you got to lift. The 4 car just drove it a little bit deeper and kept the lead. Temporarily.
Down to the inside, Rusty Wallace goes to third spot. Alan Kowicki back to fourth. In fifth, Davey Allison. Sixth is Brett Bodine. Seventh now, Hensley. He's dropped a spot. Terry Labonte is in eighth. Schrader is in ninth. Earnhardt is in 10th. Earnhardt picking up 1 spot from the start. And here's Earnhardt moving up on Jimmy Hensley in the Cale Yarborough number 66, the Trop Octric car. Schrader right there in the 25. Hasn't had much luck on this racetrack. Would like to turn that around tonight. 9th spot. And looking back from Jimmy Hensley. And Earnhardt in pursuit.
There's Jimmy Hensley getting a look at that Goodwrench sign on the hood of that car. Blurred the vision. I wonder if he tapped the camera a little bit there.
Leaders. Urban, Rudd, Wallace. 1, 2, and 3. 7 laps down, this time by. Kowicki falls back 4 car lengths from the leader. Wallace making a run on the inside.
Wallace is probably as hungry as any driver on this circuit to win a race. Last week was really the first time he's ran right up front in a long time, and he said he thinks he's in good shape for tonight.
Big night for him. This is his sponsor's race. He needs a good finish. He thought for a moment he had the pole. Then in the last moments of qualifying, beaten out by those 2 that are running side by side. Whoa! Urban just barely scrapes through on Ricky Rudd in turns 1 and 2. Wallace coming back. Battle among the top 3.
Rudd really worked on Urban. He rode him right up off the corner several laps, right on his back bumper, and I thought he might have a chance to get by him, but Ernie beat him down in the corner again.
Here's Wallace taking another stab at it in turn 1. Coming around to complete 10 laps this time. Ernie Urban is in front, and look at this battle further back. That's the 25, Schrader in 9th position. He is battling with Jimmy Hensley. Battle is for 8th. Schrader in 9th, trying to move up 1 on Jimmy Hensley in the 66. Martin right there. And there's the view from Jimmy Hensley, and here comes that 25 back on the inside another time.
Mark Martin sitting there trying to say, which one of you guys are going on? He wants to follow the guy that makes the pass, but he can't figure it out yet.
Still absolutely dead even in this battle for 8th spot. Schrader on the inside. Hensley giving it a heck of a ride on the outside. The 9-time winner in Grand National competition. Now Mark Martin noses down to the bottom. Terry Labonte comes with him. Derek Cope pulls on pit road at lap 11. Cope in the Purelator car on pit road. Look at Hensley hang it on the outside, Neil.
Yeah, his car's working good outside. We're inside of Cope's car there. He's having a problem. He's on pit road. They've got the hood up.
Now look at this battle for the lead. Here you see number 5 right down there, Rudd going for it. Ernie Urban along the high side.
This is what's been so good about this racetrack. Getting beside a guy doesn't necessarily say you take the lead. We've seen a lot of side-by-side racing, and in practice, you just get beside him doesn't mean you're going to take the lead.
Great shot coming down across that start-finish line. And again, Ernie Urban pushes the Kodak car out in front, and right back comes the Tide machine. Oh! just a little loose for a second. With that car number 5, he pitched it on the inside of 2. Exactly what you were talking about before we began this race, Neil.
Yeah, there's Rusty Wallace. He's trying to figure where to go. He thought about 3 abreast coming off that corner. When these two guys run side by side, the first 2 cars, they're really heating their tires up. After they get single file, Rusty might be able to make a run on either one of them.
And this coming up is only lap 15, folks. 300 miles, 400 laps. Going to be a goodie.
Just 385 to go.
Back to the inside comes Rudd. And Ernie Irvin stays right with him.
Boy, Rusty is wanting to get in the middle of those guys so bad. Every time they make that opening, he sticks the nose of that Pontiac in there.
And now he's trying the outside groove. Ernie Irvin stays up in there, and with that number 2, they draw away. There's the effect of the draft on this 3/4-mile track, Neil.
Yeah, and like I was talking about before, they really, 2 guys side by side, really warmed their tires up. I felt like that Rusty sitting there taking it easy. He might be able to make a run on Irvin. He's been sitting there taking it easier on his car.
Rusty Wallace, number 2, in the second place, is among those drivers who say moving the fall Richmond race to Saturday night was a great idea.
Rusty was sitting back there
the biggest advantage
licking his
tonight
chops.
is that
He's
the
just
track
telling
doesn't
him.
change. You're not chasing the weather. It doesn't get, it's not cool then hot. It stays pretty consistent throughout the night. And when the race is said and done, I can go play around the lake all day Sunday.
Right now he's playing around for first place, Bonnet.
As I was trying to talk all over Rusty, I said he was back there licking his chops. Those 2 guys running side by side, really heating their tires up. And as soon as they got single file, Rusty drove by both of them.
But here comes Ernie Irvin right back on the bottom.
I tell you, Rusty's working in the car. You can see coming off the 4th turn, he's got those white gloves on, and he's really working that steering wheel. He's hustling that race car.
The Maestro in number 2 pulls away by 4 car lengths. Wallace in the number 2 has been looking for a win for some time. His best finish this year was 2nd at North Wilkesboro. And Derek Cope in the Purolator car calls it a night early, pulls off and goes back into the garage area. Look at this battle for second place. Rudd hammering away on Ernie Irvin as they go into turns 1 and 2. Ricky Rudd right down low, and again has to take that extra chop on the steering wheel.
Did you notice that 5 car really jumping the throttle and almost hit him and lift and let him go back by? The nose of the car pushed out. If he'd have stayed in the throttle, he'd turn Ernie around. They're racing hard, but racing real clean right now.
Let's go to Dale Jarrett.
Well, guys, while all this action is going on up front, Davey Allison started 5th. He's maintained 5th, but he dropped way back about 20-25 car lengths from the lead pack. Radioed in and said the car had a real bad push in it. The cool temperatures make the car bite a little better, but since then, he's seeked around, sought a better groove. He has been able to pull back up almost on the rear deck of Alan Kowicki, but he's got the man in black, number 3, breathing down his neck. So I look for Earnhardt to make that pass on Allison, take that 5th spot away pretty soon.
Thank you, Glenn. Kowicki is 4th, Allison is 5th, and Earnhardt running in 6th. 21 laps are now complete. Rusty Wallace scoots out in front. He builds up a 30-car lead in the first 20 laps of this thing after he finally was able to snare the lead from Ernie Irvin and Ricky Rudd.
You're not going to tell everybody when you asked me before the show came on who I thought would be strong, are you? You remember me saying the 2 car?
Yeah, you got to.
Sometimes I get lucky. I've been clocking him during practice. Rusty's been strong all week. I'm telling you, he's hungry for a win, but we got a long way to go.
No wins in '92. His last win at Pocono, second Pocono of 1991. 34 races without a win for Rusty Wallace, who now has Buddy Parrott as the crew chief, and he's a meat and potatoes kind of crew chief, kind of guy that deals in fundamentals. And right now, those fundamentals are working. Look at this scramble further back in the field. There's a real snarl as Terry Labonte in the 94 pushes down to the bottom to go for 11th place under number 66, Jimmy Haslett. Dale Jarrett is right there as well. As a gang of them head down into turns 1 and 2. The action just beginning, folks, at Richmond International Raceway. Stay with us.
Racing. I can't explain it. You're kind of in a limbo zone. Time's different, speed's different, everything works different. It sounds totally cosmic. It's out there somewhere.
Kyle Petty and Mellow Yellow. There's nothing mellow about him.
For new vehicle quality,
Chevrolet is the best full-size pickup. That's a quote from J.D. Power and Associates, one of the most authoritative research companies in the automotive business. Chevrolet is the best full-size pickup, the highest initial quality in its class. Only Chevrolet, the trucks you can depend on, the trucks that last.
Here we go again, guys. Wow, I feel good. Yeah, this guy really gets around. He's got the auto lights. American Orient Paul, we're guaranteed. I feel good. Yeah, 2 years no matter how far he goes. That's why we've been everywhere. Vegas. I feel good. Yeah. Daytona. I would now. LA. Wherever we're going. The Superman, yeah. And we're not even tired.
Flight 735.
Open your code, please. Take that thing out, slowly.
You got some kind of device. We have a possible situation.
No,
wait now. We have a situation here.
It's not a situation.
This is
Touch the button, sir.
It's everybody.
Car stereo.
Pioneer car stereos offer you a detachable face for the ultimate in security.
You see, it's a detachable face for the car stereo. What's the matter with these people?
Welcome back to Richmond International Raceway 400, a Saturday night in September. It's been a barn burner so far here at the well-lit 3/4 of a mile Richmond International Raceway. As always, the Gillette Halfway Challenge is up for grabs tonight. Driver leading at halfway picks up a check for $10,000 from Gillette, the makers of Right Guard Antiperspirant. You can get involved too. Here's how it works. Send a card to this address, Box 2246, St. Petersburg, Florida, 33731, 2246. The zip code. Have to be 18 or over. You'll be in the drawing for next week's event. If we call you during the race and you can tell us who's the leader at halfway, you'll win a brand new Chevrolet Lumina Z34 from Gillette and Chevrolet. We'll have the winner for you tonight a little bit later on. Also, gentlemen, a note about Derek Cope, who ran into problems early. His oil pump belt has come off, we understand. The engine has started to lock up. Crew looking at the situation now to see if they might get him back into the race.
Thank you much, Rick. At lap 32, there's the first car going down. It is Horton, Pennsylvania Dirt Modified star. It's the first car lap. Lap 32, or actually we're working 33, as Rusty Wallace dispatches him. And look at this battle. There's the number 6, Mark Martin, who's just gone beneath Earnhardt in the number 3 car and picked up another spot. Gets him up into the 6th position, Martin. And Earnhardt is back to 7th, and you see in 8th the number 17 of Darrell Waltrip. Back up front, Rusty Wallace continues to run her wide open.
Well, Rusty Wallace down here was talking to his crew chief, Buddy Parrott. Here's what Buddy Parrott said. Please, Rusty, cool your jets just a little bit. There's a long way to go. Rusty said, we've pulled a great gear. One of the many selections that these drivers and crews have to make is gearing. But all of a sudden, Rusty came over the radio and said the 2 car is starting to have a little bit of a miss. It is skipping. So Buddy Parrott said, turn off the brake fans. There's lots of different electrical appliances that these guys have running in the car to keep the brakes cool as well as the rear end cool. Buddy already said, turn off the brake fan. Neil Bonnet, that could be a bad sign later on.
Yeah, he probably thinks he's got an alternator problem. The longer he runs with the electrical stuff on, he's going to drain the battery. These electrical systems that fire these motors take tremendous amount of fire. When it gets weak, the motor misses high RPM, and he must be experiencing
67 100ths of a second separated this field when they started. And already first to second is a separation of almost 2 seconds, 1 7/10, as Rusty Wallace gets on his war paint, game face, and comes out here and for the moment rides away from Ernie Irvin in 2nd spot, Ricky Rudd in 3rd. Now showing in 4th is Davey Allison with 5th spot belonging to the number 6 of Mark Martin, followed by Alan Kowicki and Dale Earnhardt. Rusty Wallace, one driver who's had a disappointing season, but Rusty Wallace says he's on the edge of turning things around.
It's getting late in the season, and we've had such a bad year the first half. There is a little pressure maybe put on by myself to hurry and get a couple wins out of the way, because I really thought we were going to win 4 or 5 races by this time. But we've had some personnel changes. We've had to change a lot of rules, bodies and motors and stuff like that. And things are really hampered. But right now, it's really going good with the new crew chief.
right now, lap 39. There he is with the advantage. And about to put a lap on Chad Little in car number 9, the Harry Melling car. Take a look back here. Here's Earnhardt in number 3, going after Alan Kowicki in number 7 for 6th spot, and Waltrip right in the thick of it.
The outside, Kowicki's car had been fading just a little bit. There goes Dale in the 17 car. Darrell Waltrip around there on the outside. Kowicki's car seems to be giving up just at least a little bit.
We understand the Dale Earnhardt crew is a little concerned. Earnhardt's car is loose coming off the corners. That may be why he's running up high at the moment.
That Waltrip car is coming from 14th to 8th. That's looking good as it noses down to the bottom. Tries to snag another position out of turn 4.
You know, Waltrip told us at the top of the show that he felt racy. When a driver says that, he just got the feel through the seat of his pants that that car is going to do what he wants to do. Darrell said his car is really hooked up, and he's coming after him.
Bristol, Darlington, both following to him that rain-shortened Darlington last week. Here is number 17, Earnhardt working for 6. Waltrip working for 6. It's Earnhardt's position at the moment, but not for long as they pull up on Jimmy Means in car number 52. Ooh.
Jimmy Means saw him coming and moved over. Gave him plenty of room for the two of them to get off that corner.
Seen some pretty wild racing at Richmond in turns 3 and 4 back in the half-mile days. You remember those days, Neil?
Oh, yeah, I remember them. I tested this place a few different ways. We saw the guys really working the steering wheels. This track is so smooth. It's smooth as silk. The thing that makes them a little loose of the gas pedal. You can loosen the rear wheels up.
Dale Earnhardt, if anybody here is an expert on those career season Winston Cup point battles, it's the 5-time champion Dale. He thinks this year's fight may go right down to the wire at Atlanta in November.
There's nobody really dominated consistency. Davies had his problems with crashes, and we blew up, and Bill's had his problem being off on the chassis or whatever. And who knows how it's going to turn up. Allen's been about the most consistent car out there, him and Harry Gant. So if they can keep that up and Bill and Davey keep having little miscues or whatever, it could be anybody's race.
For the moment, the guy who is trying to win that race for the championship for the second time in his career, that is Bill Elliott, is back in 20th position. Recall he started 25th tonight, still trying to work his way up through.
I talked to Junior Johnson just before the race started. He said when they qualified, they had a motor in the car that looked the best they'd ever had on a dyno, and it just wouldn't run around the racetrack. And they stuck a couple of more motors in the car, and they still haven't been able to get Bill up to speed. They've got a problem, and they can't figure it out.
There's Bill Elliott closing up on Jeff Purvis in the Bobby Allison car, the number 12 just in front of him. Jeff Purvis stepping in where Hut Strickland had been seated, and here comes Sterling. Lots of stories developing there as they press back in 20th spot. Sterling getting to the bottom of the racetrack, making some room on Purvis. This at lap 48.
Down the bottom, trying to get under Jeff Purvis in the 12 car. Bobby Allison's same situation we had before. There's Bill Elliott trying to see which way the other guys are going to go before he can make a move.
Caution free if you're just joining us thus far, working toward lap number 50 with Rusty Wallace in front, Ernie Irvin in second. Watching further back in the field as car number 12, Jeff Purvis, stays there in 19th position. And now you're riding with Mark Martin, who is chasing Davey Allison. What a scramble they're having. That's third and fourth position going down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Davey just cleared him. Davey just got around Mark just a few seconds ago. We're looking at the RPM. The car's all the way down to 51 or 5200 RPM in the corner. Here they come up on the straightaway. Let's see what kind of RPM this thing turns at the end of the straightaway. 8200 is about the most I saw that time.
140 miles an hour, too.
Yeah, that's what's misleading. Everybody says, boy, you're on a 110, 120 mile an hour racetrack, but you slow down so much in the corner, you have tremendous straightaway speeds.
Back up to 138, scoots down into the banking, around that corner. Ford telemetry giving us this idea of what those motors are turning. And look at Mark Martin scoot that Valvoline Ford right up there beside the Texaco number 28.
can we talk about racing come a long way? I have to say TV sure came a long way. It sets the fans. I've never heard people talk so much how it feels to look at the TV. You feel like you're sitting in the race car. Folks, I'm telling you, that's just the way it feels sitting in that car, watching all the stuff on the tachometer, the speed, all the different deals. Just feel the speed in it.
Want to get a sense of speed? Ride right here with Mark Martin out of the side window here.
And that's, if they'll notice that car come off that corner, how it slid out. You're not driving it out there. You get it aimed off the corner, and when it makes this last little, watch the car just jump out at the wall, and it feels like there's a cushion of air off the side of the car that really stops it from hitting. Let's see if we can follow that thing up off the corner again.
Let's do it one more time.
Here we come. Now watch the car. He's driving up off the corner, but watch the big move to the wall. And then the car almost wiggles. It's almost like there's a cushion of air between the concrete wall and the side of that car. You feel like you're going to hit it, but there's a buffet right there, and the car just bounces back off the wall without actually hitting it.
From 13 to 3rd has come Mark Martin in car number 6. Ernie Irvin still lies second. Rusty Wallace up in front. Those GM cars seem to have those heads figured out, and they've been running well in the last several races on the Winston Cup scene. You're watching it live on TBS. Richmond International Raceway sold out for months. Added 14,000 seats, and they were gone instantaneously. There's your leader. It's still Rusty Wallace as the laps continue to be his.
We've got some changing to do too.
Fix this
You've
system.
heard from them. Now it's time to hear from people like you. What do typical Americans think about critical issues facing America today?
Back, loss of jobs.
Disconnected from the American dream.
We need leadership. Freedom of choice.
Larry King takes his unique brand of talk to our nation's heartland as live from Wichita, CNN and Knight Ridder present a Larry King Town Meeting, Sunday, 9:30 Eastern on CNN.
What does it take to be a mountain man? Do you need a big horse? Do you need a deep tan? Do you have to have a saddle? Do you have to have the gear? Well, the simple truth is you just gotta have the beer.
Bush beer, an easy drinking Bush Light. Have you got what it takes to be a mountain man?
What does it take to live a mountain man's life? Get smooth Bush beer, is a drinking Bush Light.
When your engine is working hardest and needs protection most, Castrol GTX is the only leading motor oil that meets the world's toughest requirements for viscosity breakdown in every grade. Fact is, the only way you can get that kind of performance from any other leading brand of oil is like this. Castrol GTX, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Try Castrol Super Clean for tough, greasy jobs. If it won't come clean with Super Clean, it won't come clean.
You about finished? How's it going? Great. We have a lot of good mechanics that shop at AutoZone. We also have a lot of people who just want to save some money by doing a simple job themselves, like changing their oil or putting in new plugs. They just want to come in, get what they need, and get out. Well, at AutoZone, we have parts for just about every car made. So if you know what you want, great. But if you're not quite sure about something, no problem. We'll help. After all, that's what we're here for.
Welcome back to Richmond International Raceway. Saturday night short track racing, Winston Cup style. Cars and drivers are underway. We've gone caution-free to this point, and Rusty Wallace has been the driver in command. One of the many stories within the story of the race tonight that we'll be watching for you, the True Value Hard Charger standings. This is how it looks season to date. Davey Allison leading Alan Kowicki with a big lead, but the points are paid at each race. It depends on how the drivers move up through the field. We'll keep track of it for you here tonight and update you on the True Value Hard Charger situation as we get closer to the finish tonight. We're pleased to welcome to the STP Pit Communications Center the winner of the 1990 Daytona 500, Derek Cope of Spanaway, Washington. Derek, sorry you're out so soon. What put you out tonight?
Well, unfortunately, we had the alternator belt come off, and I took out the dry sump pump belt, and we lost all the oil pressure to the motor and ended our day for the Pure Layer Filter Chevrolet.
Locked up the motor. Sorry that happened. Thanks for stopping by. Okay. We're looking at leader Rusty Wallace. Is he the toughest contender out there so far?
Well, Rusty, he looked awful tough in practice. You know, he ran a lot of runs here, and we tested up here with him, and he had his car turning real well in the middle of the corner, and the car was getting off the corner, you know, very tight, and he looks hooked up right now.
How about Darrell Waltrip? He's been the hottest driver the last few weeks.
Well, he's awful tough anytime. You know, Darrell, he's awful smooth, and he's very cagey. And I ran out there with him in practice, and his car was turning real good and had a lot of horsepower, so he will be a factor in this race, I think.
Right now, though, it's all in the hands of Rusty Wallace. Thank you, Derek Cope. Best of luck the rest of the season.
When Rusty Wallace won this race in 1989, remember he ran out of fuel as he came across Dale Earnhardt right there with him. Well, here he is, building up a big lead early in the going. 64 non-stop, all caution-free laps thus far, averaging 114 miles an hour. The track to three-quarter-mile records, only 105 miles an hour. Even if they come in for a couple of fuel stops. On this run they're making now, we're in for some records, Neil.
They're flying around this racetrack. That's one thing about this nighttime racing. In the daytime, the heat, the speed falls off, but not at night. If anything, we clocked them last night. They got faster as the race went on.
Now here you see a second place move that has put Mark Martin in that Ford all the way up. Remember, he's come from 13th. Car number 6 is now second on the field, and that is the fastest thing out here. There is Mark Martin working that car number 6 around this very tight track. It's a lot different than any other track on which they run. It's a D-shaped three-quarter mile. Got this big sweeping main straightaway that's banked. It's got that straightaway down the backstretch that's as straight as an arrow. And on that particular area, well, you saw it from Mark Martin's vantage, just how much you slide the car on the tube right up into the wall. There he is at work. Mark Martin trying to close in on Wallace. He is now in second, and Ernie Irvin's back in third.
Hey, that ain't work, that's play. That's what these guys love to do.
Yeah, you play. Remember when you were playing out here and you stuffed the old Budweiser Junior Johnson car right through the wall and you stopped from 100 to 0 in 5 feet? You bent that car like they've never bent a car before, right?
I bent it double when they set it back on the ground. It set in the middle of the car, and the front and rear wheels were off the ground. It stopped in a hurry, I tell you.
How tall are you?
Well, I was 5'8". After that, I was about 6'3".
And now what are you?
Well, then after Charlotte, I'm 5'8" on the left and 5'7.5" on the right. I lost a half an inch on my right foot. But maybe it's a good thing I got out of those cars. I was losing length all the time on my legs.
Now take a look at car number 3, Earnhardt here. Dale Earnhardt trying to get back up. He's been having an iffy season to date, and he is running in 9th position at the present time. See car number 1, Morgan Shepherd, the Wood Brothers car. And here comes Morgan knocking on the door for 9th position. Brett Bodine in the back of the picture. He's running in 11th. Alan Kowicki has fallen to 12th at this moment, and Alan is really off his feet. He is backing up. Here's Morgan on a charge and getting beneath the 5-time Winston Cup champion.
One of the points that certainly will bear watching, gentlemen, as we move toward the 100-lap mark is when these drivers are going to head to the pits. The indication we're getting in the STP Pit Center is that around the 100-lap mark, is, if we stay green, is when drivers will start diving toward pit road. Certainly Alan Kowicki and Dale Earnhardt will be among the drivers wanting to make some handling adjustments as soon as they can. I'm sure they're hoping for a caution as we watch Rusty Wallace set the pace.
The Napa standings after 60 laps of competition. We're actually working lap 73 at this moment. Wallace stays in front.
Wallace is out front, but we're getting reports in that his right front brake rotor is giving him a lot of trouble. He's getting a lot of heat in it, and they think there might be a problem there.
Now take a look right here. There you see the number 2 of Wallace. Remember, he's only had, what, 2 top 5 finishes thus far this season, trying to get better at it out here tonight. Closing it down. Moving up on the Trop Arctic, number 66, to put him a lap down.
Look at the car. There's where the car is strong. See it cut down on the bottom of the racetrack? He drives it right down the bottom, drives right up beside the 66 car up off the corner. When you've got a race car that can run high, and then when you want it to jump in the bottom, watch him right around the bottom of the racetrack. Watch acceleration off the corner right here. Watch him pull. The car makes a good run off of the corner. Just like Rusty said, he's hooked up and he's ready to go racing tonight if he doesn't have any problems.
And there you see Jimmy Means. He's about to be lapped for the 2nd time in the event. Right in front of him, Stanley Smith now about to go a lap down. Wallace has pulled to a 2 3/10 second advantage over 2nd place runner Mark Martin for the moment.
A while ago when Rick Benjamin was talking about they're going to stop somewhere around 100 laps, you got to be careful this first stop. After that first stop, they can weigh the fuel, they can check how much they burned, they know their gas miles. This first stop, it's a big guess, and you can't afford to guess wrong. Once one guy pits, you're going to see a bunch of them come in. It's Brett Bodine down up on the inside of Earnhardt. They said Earnhardt's car was loose off the corner. You see it wiggling there. He's losing positions as these guys drive under him.
For 10th. Going for 10th. Earnhardt trying to take it back on the outside in turn 2. Live coverage tonight here on TBS from Richmond International Raceway. Hope you race fans are enjoying it as we watch Brett Bodine squeeze through on the inside for 10th place and draw away handily from Earnhardt.
Yeah, when your car's loose like that, you saw Earnhardt's car go in the corner and he went way up on the racetrack. He didn't drive it up there. The rear wheels were sliding out from under him and he had to turn the wheels to the right to chase it to keep it from turning. He's got big handling problems. They're going to have to do a lot of work when they get a caution.
Let's go to Glenn Jarrett standing by with Richard Childress of car 3 right now.
Well, Richard, Dale started out pretty strong, but the car seems to have gone away a little bit. What's the problem?
Well, the car is real loose off and a little bit tight in the middle, so we're going to try to make an adjustment. You know, I think we use a lot of tires, you know, trying to go up through there. But we're going to see what adjustments we make this next time.
If it goes green, when are you going to try to pit? What lap?
I think somewhere around 120.
Okay, guys, they're looking forward to 120 laps so they can make that adjustment on that car, getting back up toward the front.
When we were here in the spring, they ran 101 green flag laps at the outset of that event. As you'll recall, Bill Elliott went on to victory in that event, one of 4 in a row that he won. We've now completed 80 laps without a sign of a caution as Rusty Wallace continues to dominate the event with Mark Martin in 2nd. Ernie Irvan is 3rd. Davey Allison 4th. Darrell Waltrip is in 5th. Kyle Petty 6th. Trickle 7th. Rudd 8th. Shepard 9th. And Bodine Brett is in 10th.
You can do it.
Top quality paint at rock bottom prices. That's the True Test home decorating sale at True Value. Get Easy Care Latex Flat Finish for just $9.88 a gallon. Then save $4 on the most popular stencil from Stencil-Ease, their ivy pattern for just $2.95. And that's just the start of the savings during the True Test home decorating sale.
You can do it with True Value.
The temperature never drops below Xerex. That's very important to remember, especially at a time like this, when it's very deserted and very cold. Ah, you did remember Xerex Antifreeze. The temperature never drops below Xerex.
Someone's taken some steps to juice up their batteries. And today's Duracell batteries can even outlast the ones we made just a few years back. You know, the Copper Top.
Today, performance cars come in a variety of designs, sizes, and even prices. So do Goodyear Eagles, the world's most successful line of performance tires. There are all-season Goodyear Eagles, new ultra-performance Goodyear Eagles. There are Goodyear Eagles for the classic and for the contemporary. No matter what performance car you own, there's a Goodyear Eagle priced for you. It's another reason we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
A deadly journey.
I want to know where the gold is.
Uncovers an ancient secret.
They came in search of the Firewalker's gold.
A secret worth killing for. And dying for.
I get a feeling about this trip.
Chuck Norris, Lou Gossett Jr. Firewalker. 10:35 Eastern, Sunday morning on TBS.
And for the lead, Mark Martin on the inside, rushing through. Working lap 87, Mark Martin going for the first spot and taking it away from Rusty Wallace. As we rejoin you at Richmond International Raceway, Batesville, Arkansas campaigner in a Jack Roush Ford Thunderbird. Mark Martin takes the advantage, and Rusty Wallace is relegated to 2nd spot.
We didn't want anybody to miss anything during the commercials, so we had Mark wait till the first lap back to pass him.
Yeah, right. You got this TV thing down cold, don't you, Neil?
It just happened to work that way.
Ernie Irvan stays 3rd on the field for the moment. Here's the hottest thing on the racetrack. It is Mark Martin in car number 6 picking up the advantage.
Rusty Wallace's car was so good at the first of the race, but he's on an empty tank of fuel. The car's 150, 175 pounds lighter than it was when it started the race, and he's lost the handle a little bit. Mark Martin's car has gotten better, and Rusty's is backed up just a little bit. There's Mark. Now, that's the way you want to drive one. Just sit out there and cruise around, leading the race. It's a lot more fun in that position.
Mark Martin's another fan of nighttime Winston Cup racing, including the fact that it shortens the driver's work week.
The advantage of it is that I see is it gives the drivers, the crews, and all the people that staff the races every weekend a Sunday off. There's a different thrill, there's a different excitement, there's a different feel when you walk into the grandstands. We're competitors, so it doesn't affect us as much, but there's something about night racing that is a different feeling than going into a day race.
Well, right now, the feeling is that Mark Martin is as tough as they come out here. He's just unbeatable. At lap 90, he's in command of this thing and walking away from Rusty Wallace. Martin's best finish in this race was second back in 1990 as he makes his sixth start in this Richmond 400. For the moment, it's his. Wallace is second, Irvin third. Davey Allison stays in fourth spot. Alan Kowicki's car number 7 has backed up into the 17th position. And there you see Bill Elliott, the point leader, about to go a lap down. That number 11 car of Bill Elliott that is being shown at the present time in 23rd position. He's dropped back a couple. Elliott going nowhere thus far tonight, about to be lapped maybe in the next 10 before we get to 100.
When I was talking to Junior Johnson earlier today, he said, you know, I don't understand. We're seeing good power and we can't get the car to run. I said, Junior, that's nothing new. That happens a lot of times. They just can't figure out why the car's not going fast. They've tried everything, and Bill's not careful here. He's fixing to go a lap down, and that could be costly in this points deal.
Here he is, almost ricocheting off the back of car number 19 as he tries to get himself a little running room and move around out there.
Well, guys, as you said, Kowicki is backing up a little bit. Paul, he seems to be fading. What's wrong with the car?
Yeah, the car's just real tight, you know. The car's real good in last practice. It's totally different during the race right now. We'll see. We'll get the Hooters Ford back up front where it needs to be.
When are you planning to pit?
Probably going to pit when the leader does, 10 to 15 laps.
Well, guys, one of the problems when you go this long under green, if you miss the setup early, you get way behind. Also, when you have to pit under green, you don't have the time to make as many adjustments as you would under caution. So it might be a long night for some of these guys.
And Glenn, we're about 100, we're 30 laps away, 25 to 30 laps away from coming in here. Or if we stay green, Kowicki, couple of poles, couple of second place finishes at Richmond. Take a look at this. There is Bill Elliott, the point leader, back in 23rd spot, getting lapped by Mark Martin. That's happening at lap 96 if you're keeping track. Pulls up on Smith once again. Stan Smith at the 49 just in front of him. And then the 15 car with Jeff Bodine, but more cars. Boy, they're really catching them out here. Take a look here on pit road is car number 90. That's Hutch Strickland now driving for Junie Donlevy to the end of the season before Jimmy Spencer will take over for Donlevy with a brand new sponsor. Big story on that we'll give you a little later. So look at this Mark Martin car.
Mark Martin trying to get around Stanley Smith down the back straightaway. Stanley's car seems to be real strong down the straightaway. There's Mark going to try him on the outside.
Well, he's threaded his way all the way up. We have 22 cars still in the lead lap, 35 started. One car has officially retired from the race, and that was Derek Cope out of Spanaway, Washington, the Purolator car. Stanley's car is running pretty well, and he got it bent earlier out here. Bounced it off a wall. He had to do some repairs on it, but it's looking pretty strong right now.
Mark's in a position now where he can't just pass the 49. He's going to have to pass the 49 and the 15 car to make. He's going to make a 2-car pass just about to get around him. Now he was able to get in between the 49. Here he goes on the outside of Bodine coming up off the corner. That's a tricky little move right there. You always question, does the 15 car know I'm out there? But Bodine saw him and gave him room up off that corner.
3 times he's won on short track. He came out of the ASA ranks, won the national championship in the ASA on several occasions. There you see the number 6, and here comes that 4th place car, Rusty Wallace. That's the interval back between first and second with 100 laps complete. Ooh. Skittish, that car number 6 as it came up out of the hole in turn 2. Started off for the wall, and Mark had to retrieve it. Stays right there tending to his knitting with the advantage now of about 20 car lengths over Wallace in second, Urban in third, and let's not forget that Davey Allison has picked up one spot. If they were to finish as they are right now, Allison shoots right back in front of the Winston Cup standings with 6 races to go after tonight, Neil. Just what you called earlier.
That's what's so crazy about the way the point system, and it's good. You know, everybody says, boy, Bill's got a great big lead. It doesn't take but one race to turn that lead around. Not only first, second, third, but the whole top section up there can shuffle on any given race.
Bobby Hamilton just coming in, and now you see Kyle Petty going to the inside, going for 4th spot, and setting Davey Allison back to 5th. Davey Allison right back on the outside, and he's going to retake that spot. And here's the leader coming onto pit road. 35 miles an hour. Boy, that really cuts you down.
Kyle Petty coming in behind him there. 2 of the front running cars coming in.
At 103 laps on this 3/4 mile track, we have the leader and what had been the 4th place car on pit road.
Going to do 4 tires. We see the right side change, but look at the left. You see the guy taking the left side lug nuts off. If they're going to do 4 tires, they feel like it's critical just to track as hard as it worked in the corner.
The average speed through the first 100 laps stays about 113 miles an hour. Now Davey Allison comes in. Dick Trickle, Wally Dallenbach, and the 41 car. Dave Marcus at the controls of that tonight.
Kyle Petty and them hit the Trickle car, and Kyle Petty hit coming out of the pits down there.
Here's the Rusty Wallace number 2 car coming on the pit road. So all the leaders are taking advantage. Caution is out. There is a yellow on the track. Car number 71 has spun. Boy, there's a big advantage that will go for these cars that have stayed out here tonight. Leader coming by. Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Well, gentlemen, just about half of the field was in pitting, and that can be a terrible thing. Rusty Wallace was in, Alan Kawicki. Rusty decided to take on right sides and leaves, but this is going to see where it stacks up as far as if anyone got lapped on the racetrack. We'll have to sort it out in scoring here. Gentlemen, Neil, Ken, you'll have to figure that one out from up there.
I'll tell you what the big thing is, that Bill Elliott just got a lap back. That's the major story. Elliott, remember, had fallen a lap to car number 6, and now he has picked that lap back up. So it's a big break for Bill Elliott. Now Ernie Urban is going to pull in. He had stayed on the track and for the moment had the lead.
Boy, there Elliott gets his lap back. Look at Darlington last week. He was a lap down. He stayed out. It rained. He got it back. It seems like they just got a horseshoe with them on this points battle. They get behind and something comes their way and they get right back in it.
Let's get on to the story about what brought out that caution. It was the 71 that had its moments of pride. That is the Dave Marcus car, but it's his old pal Jimmy Sauter out of Wisconsin who's driving that machine tonight that brought out the first caution at lap 105. Let's go to Ernie Urban's pit.
Urban is in. He is getting a 4-tire change courtesy of the caution flag. Ricky Rudd is also in the pits right behind him. I believe that's the one our camera's on. But Rudd is the one that made out like a bandit on this deal. He stayed out just long enough to catch that caution flag, to do that pit work under the caution. Davey Allison was in while the caution came out. They were only going to change 2 tires, but once the caution came out, they decided to go ahead and change all 4 because they were already a lap down. So they said, hey, we got to have 4 fresh tires trying to get that lap back.
Last year it was at lap 110. This year, lap 105 when the yellow was thrown for the first time in this race. The Richmond 400. Back with more in a moment.
Everyone talks about how racing technology makes their street cars better. What they fail to say is whose race technology has won more than anyone else. Chevrolet. The cars more people depend on.
You demand the same things from your car that you demand from your budget. Both have to go more places, last longer, and work harder than ever. So get Walmart savings on the motor oil engineered for today's smaller cars. Castrol GTX. Castrol provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. And Walmart savings provide maximum protection against paying too much. Walmart. Always the low price. Always.
Oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram Extra Guard oil filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram Extra Guard. American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
Sunday night, the Cardinals want respect. Think Randall Cunningham and company will give it to them? Feathers fly in Phoenix. Eagles, Cardinals. Sunday night, 8 Eastern on TNT.
The Richmond 400 is brought to you by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America, and by Walmart, always the low price, always.
Welcome back to Richmond International Raceway. We're past the 110 lap mark under caution. Ernie Irvin catching a break on that falling of the caution flag for the Jim Sauter spin, and he is back in the lead. Now tonight, as usual, in the Winston Cup situation, we have for you the Gillette Halfway Challenge, and here's how you can get involved in that. Of course, the driver leading at the halfway point wins a $10,000 check. Courtesy of the folks at Gillette, the makers of Right Guard Antiperspirant and the Sensor Shaving System. You can get involved if you can tell us who the lap leader is at halfway. You'll win a new Chevrolet Lumina Z34. If you've entered the Gillette Halfway Challenge and we call you at home and you can tell us who's leading at halfway, you'll win the automobile. Now, here's how you can get involved for next week's Peak Antifreeze 500 up at Dover Downs. Drop us a line at Box 2246, St. Petersburg, Florida, 33731-2246. You have to be 18 or older to get involved in the Gillette Halfway Challenge battle. And the following week, if you're called and you can name the halfway leader, you'll win that brand new Chevrolet, courtesy of the folks at Gillette.
With Neil Bonnet, Ken Squire, topside here at Richmond International Raceway. 110 laps are complete. Interesting situation here. Wallace, Martin, Allison go down about a lap because they got trapped on that pit stop. This will put car number 4, Ernie Irvin, back up on the point. Morgan Shepherd will be second. Darrell Waltrip will be third. Running in the 4th spot, Dale Jarrett on the restart, with Harry Gant in 5th as we watch Sterling Marlin on pit road. 6th is Ricky Rudd. 7th is Ted Musgrave. How about Richard Petty in 8th position? Doing pretty well. He's had a top 20 position finish in the last 5 races, and he hasn't been too happy with how the car's been handling, but he's been up in there watching the work on Sterling Marlin's car from the Junior Johnson team. Now remember, they're saying that Marlin has an oil leak on car number 22. That's what they're looking for beneath that car, Neil.
Yeah, they got a big light on there now so they can try to see what it is. They probably get reports from some of the people following that car that there's oil coming off of it and they can't find it. Boy, you talk about a turnaround. The 3 guys were leading the race, found himself by pitting early, almost a lap down. They're on the tail end of the lead lap, and they're going to have to race Ernie Irvin to get that lap back.
The word, gentlemen, from pit road is that the 22 car has a cracked oil pan, so they were undoubtedly underneath trying to figure out a way to plug that leak. And time to go back to green flag racing. Sterling Marlin's car had been smoking for the past several laps.
Well, I'm with Tony Glover here. He's talking to Ernie Irvin right now. Tony, just how lucky were you there? You guys were ready for him to come in under the green.
Well, I don't know how lucky we are, but I tell you, I really hate to see stuff like that happen because I hate to see anybody lose a lap because they pitted earlier. I hate to see a madhouse like I think this is going to be on this restart.
Right. Ernie seems to have faded just a little bit, then came back right there at the end of that green flag run. How is the car?
Well, right now we're a little tight in the middle, a little loose in, a little loose off. You know, we didn't really have time to make any adjustments in. Hopefully we'll be okay.
Well, I think he will. He's got a lot of his competition a lap down right now. He was very lucky.
Look at this scramble up here as they try to get sorted out to get this back underway. The pace car is coming in. Some were 3 abreast for a moment. They still are 3 abreast as they're coming down for the start. And there goes Rusty Wallace up through. Now remember what Wallace is trying to do. He's trying to get his lap back. Trickle is in there trying to get a lap back. Davey Allison. The 4 car was the leader on that start, and there were a group of tail-end cars on the lead lap up in front. those cars that were lapped down pulled up on the tail enders, and away we went, Neil.
And I'll tell you what, on a start like that, if you're not in two abreast formation going in that corner, NASCAR can make a call, but it looks like they're going to let it go like they did. They were all out of shape starting the race.
3 wide as they came down out of turn number 4. You saw it there as they were still looking for position. Now here's the situation. Urban has the advantage. We have 114 laps complete. But getting his lap back for the moment is Rusty Wallace for sure, as well as Mark Martin and Davey Allison. All 3 have regained their lap that they were down.
That's right, Kenny. It must be questionable on Kawicki in the 7 car because he's racing like everything with Rusty. He's not on the board as the leader. He possibly pitted and lost time too. He's got to stay up front with Rusty.
The leader remains car number 4, Ernie Irvan, as they come down to complete 117 laps.
There's the 4 car. He's actually leading the race, but he's back in a big pack of cars, and they're not going to let it be easy for him to get around. All up in front of him are wanting to hold him back there.
Well, there is a snarl for sure on that restart. Now here's Ernie Irvan trying to get his way through and just pass Kyle Petty, who's had a tremendous last 6 or what? He's had, out of the last 12 races, 11 top 10 finishes. Kyle Petty is on a strong roll. Best average finish in the last 8 races, almost 2 laps down. They are reporting at the present time. Is that correct? They're showing Kyle as 2 down, not just 1. Well, he's really had it hooked up for a while here.
Kawicki got around up front. The 4 car is having a battle with each car because, I mean, they're fighting. They're not just going to give up a position. They're actually giving up 3/4 of a mile. They're giving up the length of this racetrack. So they're going to fight the 4 car just as hard if they were battling to win this race. They want to keep him back there, and that group in front of him will get their lap back.
We're showing Irvan in first, Shepard in second, Waltrip in third, Dale Jarrett fourth, Harry Gant fifth, Ricky Rudd in sixth. On this sort out after the first caution of the race, coming to lap 107. Rusty Wallace has moved around. Now take a look here as it's Schrader on the inside in the 25 car, and up on the outside is the 28 of Davey Allison.
Looks like they got together coming off the 4th turn, Ken. They rubbed just a little bit as they got off of that corner. Schrader working down low, Allison up high. It looks like a tie all the way around the racetrack. Dave's going to look at that thing and roll down the straightaway. Yates' motors are exceptionally strong. And I tell you, Schrader's, those Hendricks motors, we're seeing some good race cars right here. There's Kyle Petty. He's looking for a place to go. Ernie Irvan's threatening to put these guys a lap down.
Brett Bodine coming right with him. You surprised about that restart?
Well, it was a scramble. You know, you guys in the pits are saying, move to the front, move to the front. You're saying, well, I can't. They're 3 abreast. And I'm sure they were getting screamed at on those radio sets to get on up and get that lap back.
Kyle Petty getting nosed up against the wall that time. This year's battle for the Winston Cup. Seesaw affair. Ernie Irvan says it appears no one wants to take command.
Looks like nobody wants to win it to me. Davey ends up upside down half the time, and Elliott's just, you know, kind of just making sure he finishes, which is nothing wrong with that. That's part of racing, you know. And Harry, about the time he seems to be running good, then he has trouble, and Allen's still consistent. You just, you know, not as consistent at certain tracks. So it doesn't seem like anybody wants to win it. I sure like to be up there racing them, but I don't seem like I want to win it either.
I think he does want to win it, big time.
I think they all want to win it, but at the level of competition we have now, you're using up a lot of equipment. The racing's so tough. You're breaking race cars. We're seeing a lot of wrecks. To win the championship, you've got to run hard, and you're going to pay the price on some days.
Well, Irvan's back 11th in the points at the present time. Here he is closing up on Davey. We have now back in that lead lap. Reed, Neil?
Here they go. Quickies. You know, when it got around Schrader, now Davey's got to battle the 4 car by himself. He's got to try and hold him back and hope for a caution flag to come out.
Second place car remains Shepard in the 21, and Waltrip is third in the 17. Waltrip having another very good night here at Richmond International Raceway with now 125 of 400 laps complete. Further back in the field, Gant stays fourth. Fifth is Rudd, sixth is Earnhardt, and seventh is Jarrett. So at 125 laps, it's Ernie Irvan, the pole sitter, with a chance at an extra $60,000 tonight, holding the lead in the Richmond 400.
For Law and Order, the future looks bleak. Mel Gibson.
We're gonna give them back their hero.
Mad Max. 11 Eastern tonight on TBS.
Okay, so we were having a good time after work when this older guy walks up and orders a Bud.
Give me a Budweiser.
One could have been a coincidence.
Yeah, but then...
Budweiser.
Budweiser. Whoa, think about it. We like Bud, they like Bud.
Yeah, could it be we're really more alike than we thought?
So young.
Obviously, this was going to require further study.
One of these engines was filled with Castrol Syntec, a new synthetic oil. The rest with conventional oils. They were then drained and started without oil to prove a point. You see, Syntec's unique molecular structure bonds to engine parts. Lab tests show it leaves a layer of protection far stronger than conventional oil. And if Syntec protects this well now, imagine if you leave it in. Castrol Syntec protects in ways other oils can't.
A noble warrior advised, the art of protection springs from within. One must stay vigilant against one's unfragrant perspiration, lest one provoke a hostile response. Thus, a Norse ritual is Right Guard Sports Stick, an aromatic array of the freshest scents and maximum protection against disarming wetness. Confirming the wisdom, the best defense is not to offend. Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less will be uncivilized.
Promotional fees and consideration have been paid by the following: Goodyear, #1 in racing, and makers of Goodyear Eagles, the most successful line of high-performance tires in the world. And by Valvoline, people who know use Valvoline. And by the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
For most people in the world, the intense power of the F-16 is thousands of feet above. For you, it's a phone call away. The Air Force Reserve, a great way to serve.
You couldn't pick a finer night for stock car racing. 34 Winston Cup motors singing quite a September song. Here at Richmond International Raceway, it's been a beautiful night of racing so far. We've had one caution period. We're working lap 134, and at the moment, Ernie Irvan is showing the way here at Richmond International Raceway. I'm Rick Benjamin at the STP Pit Center. But now let's take a look at the Fram race story to this date. Ernie Irvan got the early jump tonight. He led the first 13 laps. Ricky Rudd led one. Ernie Irvan back again. They had quite a battle going. Then it was Rusty Wallace's show at that point, and Rusty led much of the balance of the first 100 laps. Mark Martin got hooked up on lap 86, blew right by Ernie Irvan on the outside, and Martin really was in control at that point. Wallace came back, Irvan again. Then we had the caution at lap 107. Ernie Irvan took advantage of that caution. He's taken the lead over Morgan Shepherd, who really caught a break on the caution and has advanced to second spot.
And the battle is for second spot right now, Rick Benjamin. There you see Waltrip in second. They try to put a lap on Brett Bodine, and right with him comes the 21 of Morgan Shepherd, the 33 of Harry Gant. They're all scrambling for that same position, and Ricky Rudd. That second, third, fourth, and fifth, with Rudd in the number 5, the 5th position. There they are, motoring their way for second spot. It's 17, Waltrip with the position. Shepherd had pulled alongside for a lap. Now he's fallen back to third again. Gant stays 4th, Rudd is 5th, Earnhardt is 6th, Dale Jarrett is 7th, and they're all within about 45, 50 car lengths of each other, straightaway of each other at the present time. Bodine, that's Jeff Bodine is being shown in 8th, and Musgrave in 9th, and Bill Elliott, after the scramble and the restart, has himself 10th position. Elliott, car number 11 for Junior Johnson, is in 10th. Terry Labonte is in 11th. Jeff Purvis in the Bobby Allison car, the Ray Vestas machine, in 12th. And Richard Petty is in 13th at the present time. Well, there you see Darrell Waltrip working his way on the high side and getting around Kyle Petty. Advantage is 2 7/10 of a second between first and second position.
ODW wasn't lying when he said he felt racy.
He felt racy last night. He got beaten by a very good Grand National driver out here, Robert Presley. More on that story a bit later. Darrell Waltrip says nighttime Winston Cup racing just adds a lot to the spectacle for the sport.
I love it. I think it's exciting. It doesn't do anything for us as competitors, but I think going home and watching it on TV, or if I was a fan in the stand, I would love night racing because it just is more. You see the sparks, the glowing brakes, and the cars just seem like they're just a lot more fluorescent. It's pretty exciting stuff.
Indeed, it's exciting as you watch Waltrip in the lap car of Kyle Petty, followed by Morgan Shepherd flashing beneath the lights here. And there you see that 21 car, Shepherd in third, with Harry Gant in fourth. Mr. September could be ready to do it again in 92 the way things are shaping up, with Rudd in the number 5 right there in fifth. Then it's Earnhardt just behind him, running in the 6th position. There's the lap car of Brett Bodine. Then Earnhardt running 6th, and behind him up on the outside is Dale Jarrett in 7th. Good battle further back in the field as Ernie Irvan, the pole sitter for the moment, stays in front, but his lead is diminishing. It's now 1 and 5/10 seconds between first and second. There's the leader, Ernie Irvan in the number 4. And there you see the 17, Darrell Waltrip. As Neil said, old DW told him he felt racy tonight, and it looks like he's ready to go for number 3 right about here. Meanwhile, Schrader in the 25 is trying to get a lap back.
And while we're talking about getting a lap back, we're looking at the 4 car here. Schrader just went a lap down, but the 3 cars that were in front of him, the Kwiatkowski car, the 6 car, Mark Martin, and Davey Allison, they're able to stay out in front of the 4. They've still got enough lead out there. They're not getting threatened yet to go that lap down. Looks like they're able to hold their own out in front of Ernie Irvan. And here comes Schrader back trying to get that lap back in.
He's in 22nd position, Neil, as he comes down to the inside out of turn number 2. Here's Schrader on the bottom of the racetrack. This is at lap 144. Again, tries to muscle his way down on the inside at 4. And he may pull it off right here. Meanwhile, here comes Waltrip closing ground. DW in the 17 car, going for 3 in a row, is right there. This battle between the lap car of Schrader and Ernie Irvan has them stitched tight enough together to give Waltrip a chance to move in here and prepare for a fight for the lead.
I tell you, in a situation like this, the 4 car having to race Kenny real hard has got him slowed up just a little bit. Now the question is, can Waltrip go right on by Schrader and not have to battle with him like the 4 car? It probably hurt the 4 to battle with him just a little bit. The key is, can Darrell drive right on by Schrader and then work on the 4 car? Looks like he cleared him right here, driving right up behind Ernie up off the corner.
Well, we got a couple of drivers with 4 wins this season, and now Darrell Waltrip would like to add his name to that group.
Last night, there's Waltrip making a move on the inside the 4 car. Kenny said last night he's having the most fun he's ever had in his life racing, and you're listening to a several-time champion. That means a lot.
3-time Winston Cup champion Darrell Waltrip down to the inside. Western Auto Car going for first place. Fans on their feet. Battle for the lead. A couple of Chevy Luminas squaring off here at the 3/4 mile Richmond International Raceway as we are 2.5 laps away from 150.
Every time Waltrip has a new baby, they win a lot of races. This keeps up, they're going to have a big family before this is over.
7 little peppers before too long.
Well, I'll tell you, I walked by their car this afternoon, was talking to old Jake Elder. You just don't hear much about Jake. It used to be Suitcase Jake. He moved from team to team. Looks like old Jake Elder set that suitcase down and settled in. He's got this race team running now.
I think he opened that suitcase and took out a lot of old tricks. Suitcase Jake has Darrell Waltrip in first, and there you see Irvan in second. And Harry Gant, the guy who exploded last September, got some lap cars to work his way through. You see right behind the Ernie Irvan car, the Schrader car still trying to make up some distance as Waltrip pulls away. There's Schrader. And then there's Kyle Petty. Kyle's setting a very good pace, but remember, he's come a lap down in here. And then you see Morgan Shepherd's car. He's shown in third, followed by Gant in fourth. First to fourth is 2 and 4/10 seconds. Now you're looking at Harry Gant at number 33. He's in fourth, and he's got his hands full with Ricky Rudd on the number 5 car. Rudd's in fifth.
These 2 guys are running virtually 2 different lines on the racetrack. Gann will go in, he'll move up high. He's never hesitated on any racetrack to try that outside lane. Rudd's running the bottom. Again, he'll sail that thing off on the outside of that racetrack, jump in the gas. He's probably one of the most thorough guys, feeling around, finding a place to work. He doesn't mind jumping on the outside and flirting with that wall.
Watch this battle continue between 33 and 5, and let's not forget that Morgan Shepherd is having a whale of a night. There's the 21 in third, and more on the story on that car from Glenn Jarrett.
Well, guys, while those Chevys of Irvin and Waltrip battle out for the lead, Morgan Shepherd rides real close in third. Eddie, how is the car? Does Morgan say the car is to his liking yet? You've been running awfully strong.
Right now our car seems to be better in the long run, and like we just now started taking back the leader, taking back up. So the longer we run, it seems to be the better it gets.
So those long green flag runs seem to play in your favor. You want to see this thing stay in the green flag. Okay, they don't want any cautions. They just want to ride it out.
There's Morgan in third, and up in front of him, about 20 car lengths in front, is Ernie Irvan in second. There's your leader, Waltrip in 17. This is lap 155. There's Ernie Irvan running in second, and there's the interval between the first and second place car as they enter turn one. And then it's another 20 car lengths back to that third place car of Morgan Shepherd.
When you talk about Morgan Shepherd, I can't help but look down there and see Eddie Wood. I remember when I first started driving for him, Eddie and Lynn were kind of back on the sidelines. They're taking charge. Eddie's working with the chassis stuff. Lynn's working with the motor. Leonard's right in the middle. Boy, it does me good to see those two young guys come along and really take over this race team.
Eddie Wood, nice guy and a great skier. Really gets down the mountain real good.
Yeah, but he crashes a lot too, kind of like I did.
Yeah, but you win a lot that way too. I don't know if he's out for any cups in slalom or downhill, but he does get along. And getting along right now is Darrell Waltrip back across the start-finish line. And Randy Pemberton is standing by in the Waltrip pits.
Yeah. Well, I'm down here with Doug Richard. Doug, you got a smile on your face. What the heck are you guys doing? You're on a roll and you're on a rope besides.
I tell you what, this Western Auto Chevrolet and the entire team, you know, we're having a lot of good breaks, and Darrell's driving his heart out there. And you know, I can't say too much for the team right now. We're doing what we should have been doing the early part of the year, but we hadn't had the luck that we're having right now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to good things today. It's still early in the day.
Do you want to see green flag racing, or do you need cautions? It looks pretty good out there, green flag racing.
I'd rather see it go green flag right now. Our car seems to run a little better the longer we run compared to some of those guys in the front.
Darrell Waltrip, the four-time winner of this race. The last time he won it, 1985. From 75 to 85, he dominated around Richmond. Looks like he's ready to try it again tonight. Our live coverage on TBS. Stay with us for the Richmond 400. His DW is looking good.
A deadly journey.
I want to know where the gold is.
Uncovers an ancient secret.
They came in search of the Firewalker's gold.
A secret worth killing for. And dying for.
I get a feeling about this trip.
Chuck Norris and Lou Gossett Jr. Firewalker. 10:35 Eastern, Sunday morning on TBS.
One of these engines was filled with Castrol Syntec, a new synthetic oil. The rest with conventional oils. They were then drained and started without oil to prove a point. You see, Syntec's unique molecular structure bonds to engine parts. Lab tests show it leaves a layer of protection far stronger than conventional oil. And if Syntec protects this well now, imagine if you leave it in. Castrol Syntec protects in ways other oils can't.
The performance of a Chevrolet is determined by many factors. We consider volumetric efficiency, coefficient of drag, yaw damping, polar moments of inertia, induction velocity, camber, caster, bounce, rebound, thermodynamic load, slip angles, linkage arrangements. And at Chevrolet, we also take into account the yeehaw factor.
The cars more people depend on.
About finished? How's it going? Great. We have a lot of good mechanics that shop at AutoZone.
Well, you also have a lot of people who just want to save some money by doing a simple job themselves, like changing their oil or putting in new plugs. They just want to come in, get what they need, and get out. Well, at AutoZone, we have parts for just about every car made. So if you know what you want, great. But if you're not quite sure about something, no problem. We'll help. After all, that's what we're here for.
Keystone Beer presents a NASCAR profile. Mark Martin began his racing career as a 100-pound 15-year-old, racing late model stock cars in the Midwest, beating much more seasoned veterans twice his size and age. Mark's next move was to ASA, where he became a 3-time series champion. In 1982, Mark Martin decided to try Winston Cup, where his career stalled out. At season's end, he was out of money. That forced him to auction off everything he owned. He came back, though, in 1984, racing 7 Winston Cup events for J.D. Stacy, but Stacy, too, pulled out of racing, and Mark was left without a ride. But Mark Martin never quit. He went back to ASA, where he won his 4th series championship. 1987 saw Martin in the Busch Grand National Series driving Fords, where he was noticed by Jack Roush. Roush picked Mark to drive for his newly formed Winston Cup team. And after just 1 year, Mark was able to score his first Winston Cup victory at Rockingham, October 22nd of 1989. He finished 3rd in the final series point standings. In 1990, Martin won 3 races and came within 26 points of winning the Winston Cup title. Mark Martin is now a dominant, popular driver in the Winston Cup Series, and he's living proof that hard work and determination will always pay off.
You're riding with Mark Martin as he tries to get back into this race, currently in 15th position as he got caught on a pit stop. The only caution period that we've had in the race was a costly one for Mark Martin. It has put him down. Now he's trying to fight his way in. Ford telemetry giving you an idea of just how hard he's fighting right now to get that number 6 back into it. And take a look at Darrell Waltrip lapping Alan Kowicki.
When they pitted on Kowicki's car on that caution, they really improved his car. He drove out to a big lead, but Darrell Waltrip, we heard Doug Richards say that the longer the 17 car ran, the better got. Here's the battle for second. There's a 21 car, Morgan Shepherd down the inside of Ernie Irvin in the 4 car.
Kowicki going 2 laps down with that move by Darrell Waltrip. That would put him 2 back. Here you see Morgan and the Wood brothers, number 21. Making a stout run for a 50-year-old Morgan Shepherd tonight. He's still looking for something better than a second place. He had that at Watkins Glen and Daytona on his season. As he's still in quest of Winston Cup win number 4, and he is back one more time into second position this year. Bobby Hamilton has just pulled off the track. I thought he'd lost his brakes the way he came in. He has gone back to the garage area. Here's Darrell Waltrip still up in front, and for the moment he's drawn a bead on anything in front of him and been able to shoot it down. Done a good job.
When somebody like Darrell's leading the race and pulling away like this, you're in trouble, because he's one of the kind of guys that can go forever on fuel mileage. He's not going to pit early. He's not going to come in there and get himself caught in there and get caught by the caution like some of the other guys. If he's leading this race, he's going to be one of the last guys to come in.
Working toward halfway. We're at lap 173 of the 400 tonight in the Richmond 400. Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Well, I'm down here with a crew of the Country Time car of Bobby Hamilton. They're working on the brakes of this automobile. Bobby Hamilton sitting here drinking a cold drink. Bobby, what happened to the brakes? Just use them up?
Well, we sprung a leak up there. They didn't ever got real hot or anything. We just sprung a leak. We've been fighting, it seemed like, since the start of the race. But, you know, I guess it's more of that sophomore zinc stuff. We'll get this Country Time 4 figured out. I think we'll be okay.
How's the racetrack out there, Bobby?
Racetrack's good. It's just regular Richmond. It just gets sort of greasy, but it's still in good shape.
Change of position as Harry Gant has just scooted beneath Ernie Irvin. Put him back to 4th. Gant is now into 3rd spot. Mr. September may be ready to make an encore here tonight. That Skoll team has been together since 1981 one way or another. They've been with Harry. Here he is. Stan Barrett started out with that team when Hal Needham had it. Harry stepped in, won their first race at Charlotte in the fall, and TBS will be taking you there first weekend of October. Hope you plan to be with us. That's always a great one. Mellow Yellow 500 coming up from Charlotte live on TBS later this season. Well, here you see Ricky Rudd now making a stab at 4th spot, as Ernie Irvin is definitely backing up here. The pole sitter had a $60,000 bonus out in front of him for a carrot tonight, but something's amiss because Ernie keeps widening that track and taking advantage down on the inside, as Rudd does right now for 4th.
We got halftime coming up, and everybody's got a chance to win them a car. Let's go down to Pit Center with Rick Benjamin.
That's right, Neil Bonnet. It's again time for the Gillette Halfway Challenge. If you can tell us who the driver is who's on the lead on lap 200, that driver wins $10,000. You might win yourself a brand new Chevrolet Lumina, courtesy of the folks at Gillette, the makers of the Sensor Shaving System. The Chevrolet Lumina will go to the person we call if that person can tell us who the leader is. Here's how to get involved. If you've entered the Halfway Challenge, your entry is selected, and you are called at home and can tell us who the leader is, you'll win that Chevrolet Lumina. Now you can enter for next week, and here's how to do it. Drop us a line at Box 2246, St. Petersburg, Florida, 33731, 2246, the zip code. You have to be 18 years or older to get involved. There's no purchase necessary. We have to get your entry by next Saturday. We'll pull an entry, and then during the running of the Peak Antifreeze 500 at Dover Downs next Sunday, we'll call a person, and if you can tell us who the halfway runner is in that event, you too can win the automobile. We'll have tonight's winner for you a little bit later on.
Halfway is coming up in 20 for the moment, a little further back in the field. Here's Musgrave in 9th spot, and Bill Elliott, number 11 in 10th. What a run Musgrave is making again this evening. They come to the inside. On the 15 car, Bodine has been in front of them. And for the moment, you're watching that 18 car, Dale Jarrett. Jarrett's number 18 rig is spotted in 8th position, so he's up a lap from that group. No, he's right there with him. 18 is right there with him. And he's going back a little.
Musgrave, they have a Ford here. Yep. They run different brands of car, and they have a Ford at this particular race.
So Bodine goes to 7th. Musgrave is now in 8th. Dale Jarrett is back to 9th. And Bill Elliott's 10th is the way they've sorted them out there.
Here's a big key right here. We said earlier that Rusty Wallace in the 2 car, he was one of the guys that lost a lap. We said he needs a caution to get back. Rusty Wallace does not need a caution. Since that last restart, Rusty has made up over half a lap. His car is running so good, he's got the potential to make the entire lap up under the green. He's a half a lap ahead of Darrell Waltrip and still pulling around, so he's starting to work himself back into contention.
And running 13th overall on the track. Stan Smith doing a good job tonight, sticking with him for a while. Back with the leader, Waltrip, lap 183. Battle for 2nd developing. Here's the 21 car of Morgan Shepherd, the Wood Brothers Ford, and here comes Harry Gant after it. The number 33 Gant within 5 car lengths, call it 4. Get it down to 3 here by the time they get to turn 2, Neil.
Yeah, Gant, there's Gant in that high line again. We see Morgan working the bottom of the racetrack. Gant just seems so comfortable working a car on the outside. And believe it or not, if you can work that high line, you don't abuse the tires so much. And when he does that, he actually, the longer he runs, the better that car should get. Harry gets stronger as the race goes on.
Putting a lap on Chad Little as they come back down into that first turn area. Morgan Shepherd in the 21 looking for his 3rd win of 1992. Here's Waltrip in number 17, staying in front. DW has become sort of an elder statesman among the Winston Cup drivers. He says his winning streak of 2 coming into tonight's show, not ready yet to give up driving the way things are going.
I don't know how long I'm going to be around, but, you know, the more people write me off, the longer I'm going to be around, I'll tell you that. So, I don't know. This another stepping stone for me. It's kind of like a lot of old football players. By the time you think they're done, they come back and run a few touchdowns, and you say, well, maybe they're not. So, always like that doubt, you know. Maybe he ain't done.
Well, there's his crew looking on as DW goes for number 3 here tonight. 84 Winston Cup wins, 3rd in the all-time list.
I think when the fans and the rest of the drivers see somebody like Darrell Waltrip move over and start their own race team, they start speculating he's fixing to make a move. Waltrip wants to drive for himself for quite a while.
Here's Earnhardt, number 3, Neil. 5th spot, Ernie Irvin, 1 spot back.
They must have improved on Earnhardt's car because at the first of the race, he was falling way back, and now he's been gaining on the lead a little bit, so they must have improved on his car some on that stop.
16 cars being shown at this moment, running in the lead lap as we get a little closer to halfway. 11 laps from halfway on the board. You know, Schrader's in the midst of everything you see out here, and yet poor Ken is still down a ways and is standing. Really giving it a shot. Ken Schrader currently being shown 23rd on the field. And Elliott, the number 11 car, stays right up there in 9th. Davey Allison, as far as the point battle is concerned, well, Davey Allison's back in 16th.
We've got a 26 car coming in, pitting. You know, he might be just a little bit early, but he might need the tires quick.
Bobby Hamilton's been in, out, and in again in the Country Time car. There you see the Brett Bodine machine in, and rolling through the picture there was Bobby Hamilton.
We've got Waltrip leading this race here, Ken. And I tell you what, we're going to take a break, and we'll do just like we did before. We promised nothing real bad will happen. We'll come back if there's a pass while we're on the air.
Sure.
Life in the suburbs is about to be turned upside down. At 8:05, the boy is finally coming home.
He has no soul.
Wes Craven's Chiller. Then at 10:05.
They're here.
The riveting box office smash, Steven Spielberg's Poltergeist. A twin bill of terror, Chiller, followed by Poltergeist. Beginning at 8:05 Eastern Monday night on PBS.
You demand the same things from your car that you demand from your budget. Both have to go more places, last longer, and work harder than ever. So get Walmart savings on the motor oil engineered for today's smaller cars. Castrol GTX. Castrol provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. And Walmart savings provide maximum protection against paying too much. Walmart. Always the low price. Always.
When 280 seemed out of reach, it's Joe Amato and Autolite who punch it. The wall goes to 290. Connie Coletta and Autolite smash it. 300, the barrier. Kenny Bernstein and Autolite shatter it. Autolite and the Record Breakers. Wow, I feel good. We feel pretty good about that.
Those whose romance with the road is rekindled with each sunrise. Beautiful mornings begin at 8. Super 8 Motels. 1-800-800-8000.
Live from the Houston Astrodome, the Atlanta Braves take on the Astros tomorrow afternoon, 2:30 Eastern, right here on TBS. Right here at Richmond International Raceway. Coming down to the midway portion of the race as the Pennzoil aerial platform gives you this view of the 3/4 mile track. We're 2 laps away from the halfway distance, and it looks like 10 grand going to go there to the new dad, Darrell Waltrip, with the advantage in car number 17. Over Morgan Shepherd in second, Harry Gant in third, Ricky Rudd is fourth, Earnhardt fifth, and Ernie Irvan in sixth. Jeff Bodine 7th, Ted Musgrave 8th, Bill Elliott 9th, and guess what? Rusty Wallace has worked his way up to 10th position. This all under a green flag go condition.
Most of the time you need a caution to get a lap back, but it looks like Rusty Wallace's car is so good he's going to be able to drive the entire distance around this racetrack and work himself back into contention to win the race.
Halfway down on the field in car number 17. Darrell Waltrip picks up that $10,000 bonus from the folks at Gillette.
I forgot to enter. I always do.
You always enter?
Always forget.
Always forget.
Reason I drive my old pickup truck every week.
200 laps are complete. Well, Neil, what do you think? We're 200 laps down as Alan Kowicki pits. Here's Waltrip just dancing around cars as he moves up on Rick Mast of Rockbridge Baths, Virginia, down the back straightaway.
We saw early on a lot of the leaders pitted 105 laps, 107 laps. And here we are at the 201, so it's time for him to do it again. There's Quickie, he's the first one the guy's in. There's Quickie, he's the first one he's put right side tires on. They're going around to the left. The key is they got to get it full of gas. They're making fuel runs. Okay, we saw him crank a roundabout in that right rear. He's not satisfied with the chassis. Good stop for him. They put more tires on it, filled him up with fuel, and put some bite in the car. Maybe it helped a little bit.
There you see the 17 car, still in the lead.
Most of the
time. Further back in the field, take a look at this. Now there you see Rusty Wallace coming down to the inside, and guess who's on the outside? Bill Elliott in number 11, the 9th place car, getting knocked off under this green flag run. Number one guy in points, former Winston Cup champion. Elliott on the outside, and Rusty Wallace down low.
Bill's got to feel like he's already dodged a big bullet. He was going to be a lap down. He caught that deal. He's got a 100-lap run here, a free ride that he's used up right now. It kept him out of that trouble.
So it continues to be Rusty Wallace on the attack. He's into 9th, and he's looking for Ted Musgraves, number 55 for the moment. As he gets beneath, and there's Musgrave just in front of him on the back straightaway. Musgrave down low. Kenny Schrader just in front. They stack them almost 3 wide. Coming down through. They are 3 wide into turn number 1. And it's Wallace threading the needle and taking still another spot. Rusty Wallace up to 8th position now.
Better judgment took over. I'm not sure on who, but they cannot go in that corner 3 abreast, or we would have that caution.
You'd think that he was all the way up there, ready for that 21st Winston Cup victory right now, but he's back in 8th and still closing ground.
Is this a good indication of how well that 2 car is running? He has ran 3/4 of a mile further than that 4 car, and it's no slouch. He's already caught Ernie. He's ran 1 lap more than Ernie in 100 laps.
Here he is. Battle is on the inside between Wallace and Urban as they both like that low side of the track. But Ernie Urban has to go a little higher, and it will be another position for Rusty Wallace as he goes up for 7th and gets it.
Boy, his car, look at him. See him wave his hand, he cleared it. He said, okay, appreciate it. Let's go on, move on further down the track. These drivers talk back and forth with the guys they're racing with. Sometimes it is friendly.
Halfway was taken by Darrell Waltrip. At Gillette, $10,000 is in his pocket. 2nd place, Morgan Shepherd. 3rd is Eric Gant. 4th stays Rudd. We're now at 2:08, and the interval between 1st and 2nd is over 5 seconds. That's the biggest advantage anyone has enjoyed. This is coming at lap 208, Neil, and Darrell Waltrip for the moment has him covered. But the guy that's trying to uncover this race big time is car number 2. Rusty Wallace, hungry for a victory. No wins in 1992. 2nd year with Penske, and if you drive for Penske, you need wins. Roger is supposed to be here tonight. Flew in at the last moment. Of course, he's got a car race tomorrow out of Mid-Ohio. Wanted to be here to see this team work, and it's working right now.
Well, we're talking about working. These pit crews are fixing to have to go to work. We're hearing that they're going to be coming in 7 or 8 laps.
Davey Allison's coming in at this moment. Car number 28. Allison, 15th place car on the field, is on pit road. Meanwhile, working his way out of turn 4, looking for Bodine, Jeff Bodine, is Rusty Wallace. There's about 15 car lengths between them as we watch Davey Allison in here taking on a right front.
Yeah, there's Joey Knuckles on that right front. One of the best you'll ever see at changing tires. He'll jump around there. He's letting the jackman go first. He lets that jackman. That's the key. They can get the tires off quicker than the guy can jack the car up. So he lets him around. They're pulling the left sides off. They're making sure that thing's full of gas, and he's on his way.
Jimmy Means also on pit road with number 52. Here's Davey away. Jimmy Means in for a moment. Great Alabama campaigner, former Alabama state champion. Never gets the calls that he should. Remember when Rick Hendrick gave him a ride a few years ago at Charlotte? Had a disastrous ride, crashed hard in turn 2. Dale Jarrett's coming on the pit road. Here's that number 2 car. Rusty Wallace seeking for the moment car number 15. And he's up to 6. I believe that 15 car has pulled in.
Boy, I tell you, that's an impressive run by Rusty. Coming through the kind of cars, he's worked his way up to 6th place from a lap down.
Indeed, the 15 car of Jeff Bodine came on pit road as we're watching this pit stop by Dale Jarrett, the Joe Gibbs car.
You saw the chassis adjustment.
Joe Gibbs is not here tonight, nor was he expected, right? He's a little busy this weekend.
I think they got some kind of ball game he's playing with him here.
That's what I understood.
Well, I tell you what, you're talking about a nice guy. Comes around the races and just as polite, sits out there and talks with the fans. Joe Gibbs loves racing, and I'm sure he's playing football, but he's got his mind down here too.
He might be watching a little tonight. Here's Ernie Irvin's number 4 rolling in. Remember, he's 7 to pole. He's had the lead twice tonight. Things not going well for him at the present time as he brings that Kodak Chevy back on pit road another time.
Let's take a look at this yacht. Let's go down with Glenn Jarrett. He's in the pits with the 4 cars.
Irvin brings the car in. He has complained on the radio that he had a bad set of tires that time. The reason he backpedaled through the field. They are changing 4 tires, and Tony Glover just put 2 rounds of wedge in the car, so it was getting extremely loose. They're working on the left side tire. There's a little problem with the left rear. Now he's down and away, but I know Ernie's glad to get a better set of tires because he was backing up.
There's Mark Martin on pit road, making a great run tonight. Had a track at the lead for a while. Getting ready to come back on again.
Again, he wasn't as strong as the car of the number 2 car, Rusty Wallace, but he was still staying ahead of the leaders. His car was not getting lapped by Waltrip, but he didn't have as much car to come all the way around like Rusty did, but he was holding his own against the leaders.
As you see car number 6 come out, the battle that's building on the racetrack is between the 5-time Winston Cup champion Dale Earnhardt in 5th, and Rusty Wallace is closing in on Earnhardt. Now here are the Waltrip gang all together. There is Michael Waltrip running in 11th position. There's Horton, Pennsylvania modified driver, great dirt track champion. He's on pit road. Take a look at this. Battle for 5th, back straightaway. On the inside, Wallace makes the move, and he's there. Earnhardt falls to 6th, and Rusty Wallace continues his march toward the front. The Miller car making just a remarkable charge back through this field. As Neil told you, he was down considerably, a lap back, and he's fought his way through this whole field to get himself back up, ready to challenge now on Ricky Rudd.
It looked like he jumped the inside. He must be coming in. I saw Rusty throw his hand up to tell the other drivers, here comes Wallace turning down pit road.
Hottest car on the track right now is Rusty Wallace, the Buddy Parent team waiting for him as he comes by at about 35 miles an hour, which is the pit speed limit tonight. Rusty Wallace, best finish this year, 2nd at North Wilkesboro on pit road.
Here's Rusty in there. Boy, now they're going to throw a pit stop on him here. He's driven his heart out, and they want to throw a stop on him where he can get back up there and get that lap back. Not a lap back, but get contention for the lead. Right side's on, throwing the left side's on the car. You notice they did not turn a jack screw on this car. He couldn't be any happier with the chassis, and they're not even touching the thing.
Earnhardt in. Richard Childress' crew, Kurt Chelmerdine over the wall. Here's Glenn Garrett.
Earnhardt brings the car in. They're still wanting to make some wedge adjustments on the car. I talked to Richard Childress, and there Richard goes to put a little more wedge in that car. Looks like about 3 to 4 rounds. He's really turning that screw. So the car still was not to Dale's liking. It was better. He's getting 4 tires, 2 cans of gas, and about 4 rounds of fight in that car. Now he is being held by NASCAR. He came in on pit road too fast. So there is a penalty here. Boy, he is hot. He's racing the engine, and now he's away, but that's a costly mistake.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what that call was. You know, you got to be careful how many guys go over, or if you're out of the line or whatever. Came in too fast. We just got the call. They said he came down pit road too fast, and they made the call, held him 15 seconds.
Waltrip stays in the lead. He's just in front of Wally Dallenbach.
Looks like Waltrip is pulled to the inside. I think you'll see him come in right now. Waltrip's he's pulled down low. And I thought he was coming in. He just pulled over. The car that just passed him was not one of the real fast cars leading the race. He might be just pacing himself, trying to stretch that fuel.
Wally Dallenbach staying out there in 27th position. Now falls back to Darrell Waltrip. Right with him comes the 26 of Brett Bodine. Brett Bodine is being shown 21st on the field as Waltrip continues to stay out with 227 laps complete.
Okay, so why is it the only thing we have in common with these older guys?
Give me a Budweiser.
Is the beer we drink.
Coincidence, perhaps?
Well, perhaps there's some unseen force that binds the universe together and makes us like Bud.
Or perhaps you guys could just ask him.
Budweiser just isn't like other beers. Beechwood age.
It's the rice.
It's the hops. Whoa, maybe we can learn something from our elders after all.
One of these engines was filled with Castrol Syntec, a new synthetic oil. The rest with conventional oils. They were then drained and started without oil to prove a point. You see, Syntec's unique molecular structure bonds to engine parts. Lab tests show it leaves a layer of protection far stronger than conventional oil. And if Syntec protects this well now, imagine if you leave it in. Castrol Syntec protects in ways other oils can't.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
A Ray Bradbury adventure come to life.
What if there really is life on Mars?
The biggest mystery of the space age is about to unfold.
This will be our last transmission.
We read you. Have a safe landing.
Forgive us.
Expedition 1, come in, please. Do you read me? Expedition 1.
Rock Hudson, The Martian Chronicles. Sponsored by Anheuser-Busch. 8:05 Eastern, Wednesday night on TBS.
Promotional fees and consideration have been paid by the following: Phillips 66 Trop Arctic Motor Oil, the high-quality motor oil for year-round engine protection. Long live your car with Phillips 66 Trop Arctic. And by First Brands Corporation, maker of STP Racing products.
Caution is out. There's been a spin by Bobby Hamilton. And again, the hand of fate playing for some in a very positive way, in a very negative manner for others. Hamilton's pilot and godfather holds the sportsman record on the old Daytona Beach course. That's Bobby Ruther. And this guy just did a little airplane spin up here in turn number 2. There's Bobby Hamilton. Has had his misfortunes tonight. Brakes have not worked on that car very well, and I think it probably locked one up and threw him around. But what it's done is we had 3 cars running the lead lap. Harry Gant was among them. Has Gant pitted? Don't think so. I think Gant is still out there. Or did he just come in? Waiting on the 68. Let's go to Rick Benjamin quickly here.
Well, Ken, we're going to recap how things went in the first half of this race as we work toward the 235 lap mark, second caution of the night. At the halfway point, we'd had 5 leaders, and Rusty Wallace had been the dominant leader to that point. 7 lead changes, average speed of over 107 miles an hour. Up until now, only 1 caution for 7 laps, and only 1 car was out of the race. And that was the Derek Cope automobile. We spoke with Derek earlier in the evening. Here's the way the leaderboard breaks down. Ernie Irvan had it first, then Ricky Rudd for a lap. Irvan back on top. Rusty Wallace for a long time, nearly 70 laps. Mark Martin showed strength for 16 laps as we worked toward the 100-lap point. Rusty Wallace showing a good, strong run early tonight. Then Ernie Irvan back. We had that first caution. Ernie Irvan reclaimed the lead, and Darrell Waltrip took over on lap 118, or rather lap 148, and he has held it to this point, this round of green flag stops that we're in. Waltrip went in under green. Some other drivers will get a chance to pit now under the caution for Bobby Hamilton.
Harry Gant has pitted. And with that pit stop, it puts everyone back in that lead lap field, and it makes Darrell Waltrip again the lead. Second place, how about the number 2 of Rusty Wallace? Going third will be Morgan Shepherd. Fourth will be Ricky Rudd. Fifth will be Mark Martin. Sixth will be Gant. He'll be, that's correct. Ernie Irvan will be shown in 7th as we get set to go again with 233 complete. Now we're watching a few other stops. There is some debris on the track. They're going to be cleaning that up. Kyle Petty is pitted. Sterling Marlin, Jeff Bodine, Brett Bodine, Ernie Irvan coming back in. Hut Strickland brings the number 90 Don Levy car. Wally Dallenbach, Schrader, Bill Elliott in a second time. Davey Allison is on pit road. Meanwhile, on the track, it's the number 17 of Darrell Waltrip for the lead. Then one lap car, the 71 is staying out there for the moment, Jim Sauter, and behind him comes Rusty Wallace.
Somebody that gained on that was Kenny Wallace. The 25 car. He moved back in the lead lap. We're going to take a break, go for a commercial, and we'll straighten this mess out.
Racing. I can't explain it. You're kind of in a limbo zone. Time's different. Speed's different. Everything works different. It sounds totally cosmic. It's out there somewhere.
Kyle Petty and mellow yellow. There's nothing mellow about them.
Oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram Extra Guard oil filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram Extra Guard. American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
Open your coat, please. Take that thing out slowly.
You got some kind of device. We have a possible situation.
No,
Wait now. We have a situation here.
It's not a situation.
This is
Touch the button, sir.
Everybody.
Car stereo.
Pioneer car stereos offer you a detachable face for the ultimate in security.
You see, it's a detachable face for the car stereo. What's the matter with these people?
If you thought Banana George Blair had found the fountain of youth,
I'm 77 and still barefooting.
You'd be half right, because the one he's found is actually for his car. With a little Armor All Protectant, George restores the beauty of his dashboard and seats, and in minutes it helps protect his tires from fading and aging.
It keeps my car looking almost as good as me.
There is a fountain of youth, and we own the patent. Armor All.
I hope my teeth don't fall out.
Handful.
The Richmond 400 is brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs and by Coca-Cola Classic. You can't beat the real thing.
Still under caution here from the Hamilton incident, clearing up the track. And let's go down to the pit center for a Goodyear Racing update from Rick Benjamin.
Ken, last night the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series competed in a 200-lap event here at Richmond Raceway. It was a very competitive event. 37 cars took the opening green flag last night. We're going to show you some highlights from last night's event. Last night the race was won by, or rather was led off the green flag by Todd Bodine, the red automobile here. Bodine jumping out of the front row to a good early lead as the rest of the field scrambled behind Todd Bodine. Race run here last night in the evening as well. A few laps into the chase, Tommy Ellis spun, backed into the wall, moved the rear end over in the car. Ellis was out for the evening. In the 40 and 50 lap range, the 28 car driven last night by Jeff Purvis got loose in turn one. He collected the Butch Miller automobile. Both those cars were out for the night. Miller's car sustaining heavy front end damage, and he had to go behind the wall. Some great racing later on. This, though, a spin by Troy Beebe off of turn four. Beebe sliding across the grass, doing the slide for life. Got the car gathered back up straight, came back up onto the racetrack, and continued in the event last night. Now, here's a great battle for the lead. Robert Presley in car number 59. Mark Martin in his Busch Series car, the number 60, door to door, rubbing on each other up through turns 1 and 2. Martin able to get by at that point and claim the lead, but Presley came back to take over the top spot. Darrell Waltrip pressed him hard to the checkered flag, but it was Robert Presley gathering his 4th victory of the season last night in Busch Grand National competition. Presley a very happy winner in victory lane. Robert Presley doing very nicely in the season standings, solidly in the top 5, and that is your Goodyear Racing Update.
Let's tell you where we are now. Coming up to lap 240, and Rusty Wallace is diving to the bottom of the racetrack. He's going after Darrell Waltrip with the back straightaway and takes him out of turn 2. Rusty Wallace has retaken the lead on the restart. Came up along with the 17, found the bottom of the racetrack to his liking in turns 1 and 2, and scooted into the lead.
That didn't even take a full lap for him to run Darrell down and go right by him like that.
Coming from second spot, there was a lap car in there, but not for long. far as Rusty Wallace is concerned. Well, Darrell's got to have his steam up. He's coming right back after him. Ricky Rudd is in third, and there's 3 4-lap cars between Walter. They include Jeff Purvis, Kyle Petty, and Brett Bodine, as well as Alan Kowicki. Those 4 before you get back to the third-place car. That's Ricky Rudd. Morgan Shepherd is in 4th. Mark Martin 5th. Harry Gant 6th. Musgrave in 7th. It's Jarrett in 8th. Earnhardt is 9th. Terry Labonte in 10th. Michael Waltrip in 11th. And going in 12th is Richard Petty. Bill Elliott's 13th.
Ken, let's see if we can get back and show a replay of that pass for the lead on the restart. Here's Rusty. He looks outside. Then he dives to the inside as they go across the start-finish line. And he drives his car right under Darrell. As they go down the corner, Darrell didn't have any option. He cleared him so much, but just to drop right back in behind him coming off this corner over here. Rusty just drove by him like he was sitting still.
That completes the second caution. 10 lead changes among 6 drivers thus far in the Richmond 400, coming to you live on TBS. Rusty Wallace says that some of NASCAR rule changes have forced his crew to rework their Pontiac for tonight's event.
Bigger spoiler from the race we ran here previously, and that's going to make a large difference. We're already adjusting the car with sway bars and springs and everything that compensate for the more downforce we have in the back. So the racetrack's the same. In fact, if anything, maybe it's a little better because it's more cured up, and I just love coming here. The people treat you great. The track's always in fine condition.
Here you see Waltrip right back into it. Closed in on car number 2. He's not letting him get away now.
No, he's staying right there. He tries the higher line. He looks out a little bit higher right there. There's Purvis right behind him trying to get a lap back. Bobby Allison's car. Walter coming in here trying to get back up to Rusty. Rusty's car has been so good in the bottom, but so is Darrell's. They're both pretty even up off the corner.
That's the battle for first place at lap 245. Further back in the field, there's Harry Gant in the 33 as he continues to work with Mark Martin in 4th, number 6, and Morgan Shepherd in 5th, just in front of him. Morgan Shepherd in the 21, the Ford Thunderbird from Wood Brothers, stays in that 5th spot, just in front of him, the number 6 car of Mark Martin. And here comes Gant, trailing in 6th, and behind them is Earnhardt in 7th. You see the black number 3 there, that's Earnhardt, and that's the interval between Harry Gant and Dale Earnhardt. Behind Earnhardt, there you see that 41 car, which has Dave Marcus at the controls. It's so familiar to see him, the 82 winner of this race, out there at number 71. His car is out there with his good friend driving the car tonight, another Wisconsin campaigner. Back to the leaders. Wallace and Waltrip first and second. Jeff Purvis in the 12 for the Allison team right there, the lap car. And he is staying with them, Neil. Jeff's doing a good job.
You know, when you have someone like Jeff, he hasn't ran this many Winston Cup races, and the best thing he can do is run right there with some leaders, and they're showing him a good way around this racetrack, and he's staying with them. He's a lap down. Every now and then he can put a little bit of heat on Darrell, but they're going to be tough.
He's running 19th. So it's Wallace in first, Waltrip in second. Then a bit of distance back to Ricky Rudd in third in the Richmond 400 with 250 complete.
Life in the suburbs is about to be turned upside down. At 8:05, the boy is finally coming home.
He has no soul.
Wes Craven's Chiller. Then at 10:05. The riveting box office smash, Steven Spielberg's Poltergeist. A twin bill of terror, Chiller, followed by Poltergeist. Beginning at 8:05 Eastern Monday night on PBS.
You can do it.
Top quality paint at rock bottom prices. That's the True Test home decorating sale at True Value. Get Easy Care latex flat finish for just $9.88 a gallon. Then save $4 on the most popular stencil from Stencil-Ease, their ivy pattern for just $2.95. And that's just the start of the savings during the True Test home decorating sale.
You can do it with True Value.
So it's Sunday morning. You've read the sports section twice, but kickoff time is hours away. Turn to NFL Preview and run down the day's top action. NFL Preview, Sunday mornings at 11:30 on CNN.
The technology developed on the track for the awesome 650 horsepower Lumina NASCAR champion goes into cars like this. The 1992 twin dual cam V6 Chevy Lumina Z34. Sorry, decals not included. Chevy Lumina Z34 from the heartbeat of America. And now it's easy to win with a heartbeat.
255 of 400 laps are complete, and there's the distance between first and second. Wallace, number 2, out in front. Waltrip in the 17, going for the lead. Goes right down to the bottom and hangs it in there.
Here comes old Racy. He said he was going to race him. He's working on old Rusty right now. He's trying to get up beside him.
Tries again at 3. Inches down to the bottom. That 17 car is working. Thank you, Buddy Parrott. Or rather, thank you, Suitcase Jake. Buddy Parrott's the guy with the 2 car that is working just a little hair higher on the racetrack. That's Jake Elder's job down there in the bottom that's working so well at this time.
Boy, Daryl's got a good team put together. They got Doug Richard down there working on the car. A lot of guys that are really having fun right now with their race car running this good.
Look at this, dead even. 258 complete. Waltrip noses back in front of Rusty Wallace. A couple of the old masters as crew chief. Whoa!
Is this a good racetrack or what, where you can drive 2 lanes out there, the guys racing all the way around the racetrack? A lot of times we go to race and it's 1 lane only, but look at this.
Well, that's what you said was 1 lane over there in turn 2. Remember, that's what you said.
But it's getting better and better and better.
Here comes the 17 back on the bottom, and there is Rusty Wallace. With the Buddy Parrott prepared car on the outside. That is a fantastic race.
When we're talking about 1 lane, though, you just said Penske flew in. It's a Miller race.
Yeah.
I believe Rusty will try that outside lane to stay up front.
Angels fear to tread. If Roger Penske is here, you'll fly it. Again, Waltrip for the lead. You're watching it live here on TBS from Richmond, Virginia, on the 3/4-mile Richmond International Raceway. Winston Cup NASCAR racing. Talk about competition. Talk about primetime television, Neil. How about that?
Well, I'll tell you what, Daryl's car got a little bit loose when you pinch it on that inside. Slid up there, they didn't quite get together, but they were racing all the way around this track.
Averaging close to 120 miles per hour per lap. They had 2 cautions thus far tonight. Least number of cautions. 2 for 8 laps. Back in March of 1979, we've had 2 for 13 thus far in this evening's race. Well, here's Wallace back up on the high side, making it work. Oh. And here comes Darrell Waltrip right down, hugging that yellow line. Gets himself back in there, but he has to settle for second for the moment.
Even if Darrell can't make the pass, he wants Rusty to think he can.
It's only for the moment. Talk about feeling racy. These 2 guys are having a wonderful time out there.
I promise you, there's a smile on both of them's face. Rusty has really been needing to run like this. Darrell's winning everything he does lately. These 2 guys are having a ball.
Coming up out of the hole from turn number 2, it's Wallace again with a drag strip advantage of about half a car length. But here coming through 4, Darrell Waltrip is right there, looking for that 85th win. Rusty Wallace working on win number 21. 264 laps complete, and the last 10 laps have been spectacular. Some 70,000 sold out this place. Added 14,000 seats. Didn't do a bit of good, Neil. They all were gone 3 months ago. They'll have to build some more before we come back here in March.
If the racing stays this good, Ken, there's going to be 70,000 to the end. They're not going to leave early, but we're going to have a little bit of traffic in down here.
You know what? They could have sold twice the seats because these people aren't sitting down. They could have doubled that tonight. 40,000. Well, for the moment, here's Rusty Wallace. Here comes Waltrip back another time. Right down and not making it.
Rusty seems to be content with that outside. He's moved to the outside lane and sees that he can hold Darrell off out there. It gives Darrell that little bit of run on the inside, but he just can't. When you make that inside run, you can't get in the throttle as quickly, or you'll spin the rear tires, and it lets Rusty make a run off the corner on him.
Where Waltrip seems to make it up is right in here in this main straightaway in the D portion of the track. Where Wallace seems to get the advantage again is coming out of 2, out of the hole and down that back straight. Well, take that away. Here's the 17 working on the bottom this time. Then again, here's Wallace pulling him down the back straightaway by about half a car length. But in 3, here's Waltrip right back another time.
You know, this is almost uncharacteristic of Waltrip. He's the kind of guy that waits for the end, but he said he's racy, he said he feels good. He's having fun, and he's going to race Rusty the rest of this race, it looks like. He's not content to sit there and wait till the end. He's got a good, clean run at him here, but watch Rusty on that outside with that momentum off that corner and pull back around him.
You would think that Waltrip was back at Nashville, where he won so many races at the old Nashville Fairgrounds, where he always ran right down to the bottom of the racetrack.
He might not be back to Nashville, but he's back to doing what he always done the best. Win races and run up front, and he's doing it again.
Here he comes, knocking on the door, but not able to get that key in the lock and take first place away. Taking a look at the Napa standings here. The Napa scoreboard after 250 of 400 laps complete. We're working lap 270, and Waltrip is there off Jimmy Dean's lap car. Almost had him.
We saw the back end slip just a little bit when Darrell got back in the throttle up off that corner, and he's real good at feeding that gas and working that throttle and not burning the tires up. A lot of times you see guys make 1 or 2 stabs of passing somebody and then have to fall back. Darrell is just continuously making a run on him.
Wallace looked a little loose that time as he came down through. Half a straightaway back is the 3rd place car. That is Mark Martin now in 3rd, and Ricky Rudd is fallen to 4th. There's been a swap back there. That's about half a straightaway down. Mark Martin has gone to 3rd, and look at this. Side by side, this has been going on now for 20 laps. This great duel at the Richmond International Raceway. And again, Wallace on the outside as they work Chad Little's lap car has the advantage.
And here the two of these guys are battling away at each other. Here comes Kyle Petty up there wanting to get his lap back. While they're battling, Kyle is really closed in on him right here. Darrell had his best shot going in 1 right then on Rusty Wallace, and they ran up on a lap car, and he had to back out of the throttle.
Well, earlier today we had the honor of having Colonel Edward Pasqualera visit us to present the U.S. Air Force Reserve Commander's Performance Award to Gary Nelson. Colonel Pasqualera commanded a hospital unit in Operation Desert Storm. He was a real hero over there. He was located some 2 hours north of Kuwait, Neil, and he's presently commander of the 13th U.S. Air Force Reserve Hospital at Scott Air Force Base in Illinois. And we're proud to present you to Colonel Pasqualera.
Got a pretty good little
Thanks,
going
Ken.
right here.
It's a great pleasure for me to be here representing the Air Force Reserve and to present the Air Force Reserve Commander's Performance Award. With me is Gary Nelson, a man who has spent 22 years in NASCAR racing. Many of you will recognize Gary from his previous years as crew chief on the NASCAR circuit. He was with Bobby Allison during his 1983 Winston Cup winning season. Gary has taken on a new job with NASCAR. He is now the technical director and is responsible for inspecting all cars to ensure their safety and that they meet operating requirements. We in the Air Force Reserve know what it takes to get a quality product. Gary, on behalf of the members of the Air Force Reserve, we want to wish you well in your new endeavors, and thank you.
Thank you, Colonel, and thanks to all the men and women of the Air Force Reserve. I'm very honored to receive this award, and I will always treasure it.
The doctor was also part of the U.S. Olympic team up there when they were doing so well in the Olympics. What, 2 Olympics back, took the gold medal? Quite a guy. Got quite a fight here. Talk about pilots. Look at these 2 flyers. Rusty Wallace and Darrell Waltrip have been at each other now for 25 or 30 laps, and for the moment, Kyle Petty is going to break up that dance as he tries to get back in this race.
Here we go back to 3rd place. Mark Martin And the 5 car, Ricky Rudd, they've been going at it lap after lap. Rudd's trying to get up under Mark Martin off the corner.
Here's a battle for 6th place. Had all that emphasis up in front, but there's some good squabbles to be decided in other positions. Look at Earnhardt on the bottom and Harry Gant. Couple of the true giants of Winston Cup racing. The 5-time champion Dale Earnhardt trying to get his season back on a winning rail. And here comes Harry Gant right back with him. Meanwhile, look at Kyle Petty in 42 work on Rusty Wallace. Kyle Petty running 23rd. And he is being shown, what, 2 laps down?
Trying to get a lap back, and we saw Darrell try it repeatedly to get under Rusty. The key now is can Kyle do it?
Kyle Petty, 2 laps down, 23rd position. Trying to make up 1 right here. We'll see how he makes out shortly.
A Ray Bradbury adventure come to life.
What if there really is life on Mars?
The biggest mystery of the space age is about to unfold.
This will be our last transmission.
We read you. Have a safe landing.
Forgive us.
Expedition 1, come in, please. Do you read me? Expedition 1.
Rock Hudson, The Martian Chronicles. Sponsored by Anheuser-Busch. 8:05 Eastern, Wednesday night on TBS.
Introducing a dandruff shampoo just for women. Selsun Gold for Women. With the #1 doctor-recommended dandruff medicine, plus our new conditioning system. New Selsun Gold for Women. Effective on dandruff, gentle on hair.
Today, performance cars come in a variety of designs, sizes, and even prices. So do Goodyear Eagles, the world's most successful line of performance tires. There are all-season Goodyear Eagles. New Ultra Performance Goodyear Eagles. There are Goodyear Eagles for the classic and for the contemporary. No matter what performance car you own, there's a Goodyear Eagle priced for you. It's another reason we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
You about finished? How's it going? Great. We have a lot of good mechanics that shop at AutoZone. We also have a lot of people who just want to save some money by doing a simple job themselves, like changing their oil or putting in new plugs. They just want to come in, get what they need, and get out. Well, at AutoZone, we have parts for just about every car made. So if you know what you want, great. But if you're not quite sure about something, no problem. We'll help. After all, that's what we're here for.
Coming up live from Charlotte, the All-Pro Auto Parts 300. That's on Saturday afternoon, October the 10th, beginning 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on TBS. And the next day, it's the Mellow Yellow 500 Winston Cup race, Sunday, October 11th, at the Great Charlotte Motor Speedway, beginning at 1 Eastern, here on TBS. Guess what? They're at it again. Waltrip and Wallace just can't stand to be separated.
Rusty Wallace had to fight off Kyle Petty several laps there. Kyle was able to get on the round Rusty. And Darrell sitting here had a bird's eye view of it, and now he's attacking Rusty again. Hopefully, he's hoping that maybe Rusty worked his car real hard while he was battling Kyle. So Darrell's going to make another run at him. Here he comes, driving up. This is about as good a run as he's had at him down the back straightaway. Rusty will sail in hard, but Darrell should be able to get in the gas a little bit quicker right here. There he comes, driving up on the inside. This is the best shot he's had all night long on this particular run here to clear him going in this corner.
On your chart, this would be lap 289. Waltrip for the lead. And back comes Wallace. Pontiac on the outside, a Chevrolet on the inside, and a Ford running back in the third position. Mark Martin, about 30 car lengths back from this pair that are giving these 70,000 Richmond fans the duel of the year.
It might have been a Pontiac on the outside and a Chevrolet on the inside, but there's 2 racers inside those race cars. They're going at it, I'm telling you.
Get the adrenaline up a little, Bonnet?
Yeah, man, I tell you what, I've had some days like that when you sit there and race, and, you know, that's what's good about the memories, thinking about days like that, how much fun racing really is.
How much fun is that? Go stomping off in that corner when you know you're right on the edge. Just a little more throttle, you're going to throw it away right in the wall. It's going to be all over. And 90% of the short trackers in America that would like to be racers, if they were, it's that's the level that we're at here, where you can take it right to the very edge but not step over.
That's when it's fun, Ken, but the problem is I stepped over too many times. I take it to the edge, and sometimes I went the other step, and it's kind of got me walking crooked right now.
Well, let's go down to the pit center for another Goodyear Racing update that's coming our way.
Well, Ken, as we've watched the battle between Rusty Wallace and Darrell Waltrip, there are two drivers who are all set as far as the next Winston Cup season is concerned. Both gentlemen will stay on those cars. But this is what we call silly season, where there's a lot of shifting back and forth. Drivers joining new teams, new sponsors coming into the sport. And now in this Goodyear Racing update, we're going to tell you about one of NASCAR's most veteran car owners who may have the best situation of his 35 years as a car owner. Judy Donlevy announcing here on Friday that he's going to have an entirely new situation for the year to come. Judy Donlevy has signed a 2-year sponsorship deal with Heilig Myers Furniture, a major furniture chain in the South. They're going to run all the races. Jimmy Spencer is going to be their new driver starting in Daytona come next season.
It is just a beautiful day for us and for the whole team, and I hope that Jimmy and I will really be able to make Richmond and Heilig Myers mighty proud of us as we go through the season next year.
Lots of folks will be looking forward to that as the Heilig Myers team comes on next year.
We have a caution on the track. It is the third one of the night. Car number 30, Michael Waltrip, getting ruined down here. Has a new crew chief now. John Hewitt has taken over, and John's going to have a lot of work to do. Look at the back end of that one after it got stomped up in the wall. Third caution of the night. Let's hope that Michael is okay in car number 30 after he really took a clout, Neil.
Boy, he really shortened the back of that car up. There's a lot of protection around that fuel cell, a lot of roll bars back there, and it's got it all driven right down on the ground. He really hit hard and backwards.
Pit road is closed. It was the 18th position car, number 30, that took the brunt of that one. Michael Waltrip shortening up that Pennzoil car dramatically out here tonight. And we'll be back with more on the story in just a moment.
Too hot, babe. Guy moves in. What's the question? He just needed a place to stay. Women are all over this dude. It's all simply platonic.
Three's Company on TBS. Beginning 6:05 Eastern, Monday on TBS. Sunday night, the Cardinals want respect. Think Randall Cunningham and company will give it to them? Feathers fly in Phoenix. Eagles, Cardinals. Sunday night, 8 Eastern on TNT.
Mark and my relationship goes way past business. I'm sure in a previous life he and I were twin brothers. Throughout the race, the driver and crew chief communicate. The driver complains about the car or brags about the car. It's the crew chief's job on pit stops to make whatever fixes he can to help the driver's predicament. Everyone has about the same access to equipment and technology, but the people who rub on it the most and think the most of it and think about it the most will end up winning the race.
Joe Amato. When he goes out for a Sunday drive, he goes with Autolite. But Monday through Saturday, Joe goes one better. Autolite Platinum, the premium performance plug for your everyday driving. This Joe's not your average Sunday driver. And Autolite Platinum's not your average everyday plug.
Well, misfortune seems to follow Michael Waltrip this year. And the car number 30, to me, it's more than a rear clip there. all the way back. That car number 30 took a real thrashing.
Let me tell you what, though, just thank goodness for those fuel cells. That's about as mashed up as you can get one and not have a fire. He really did the job.
He won a Grand National race over at Darlington, South Carolina a week ago. Comes in here tonight. John Hewitt, who was a great modified driver up around the Holland Speedway in Perry, over New York State Way, took over the car this week as a crew chief. First time out as a crew chief for it. Lose the car. Tough way to go. Now the leaders are pitting. Pit road is open. In comes Wallace, Waltrip, Martin, Rudd. All diving onto pit road. Morgan Shepherd comes in. Gant. Now this should take them home. This pit stop can get them there, can it? 299. Randy Pembroke.
Well, I'm down here at Darrell Waltrip's pit. Pretty leisurely pit stop. One funny thing, Darrell Waltrip came over the radio and said, do not clean the windshield. We need to get out as quickly as possible and beat that 2 car if Rusty Wallace is out. They're working on the left side right now, getting ready to drop the jackets down. Darrell's away.
So is Wallace out. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Well, we're standing by in Rusty Wallace's pit. He came in and made a 4-tire change. There was no adjustment made on the car. They made an absolutely fantastic pit stop. Everybody was high-fiving here. Here's Buddy Perry. Boy, you guys are excited about that pit stop.
Well, really were. You know, we started having some good stops down in Darlington. You know, we're in the 19 seconds. This Miller Jr. Draft Pontiac is really doing a great job. I got Roger Penske and Don Miller and all of them up there doing a spot tonight. And everybody's talking on the radio, just having a great time. I hope we can pull this thing off. We really need to win a race.
Well, it looked like a while ago in a like side-by-side racing. That looked like a lot of fun. What was Rusty saying?
Well, Rusty wasn't saying much. He's just racing a great race car driver in Darrell Waltrip out there. And but I've had Darrell Waltrip for wins here. And maybe we can have Rusty Wallace tonight for a win.
Well, this should be your last pit stop, right?
Yeah, that's true. We can go the distance right now. We don't have any problem.
Pretty fancy signboard out there for Dick Trickle. The Stavola brothers at car number 8. Sure know where your pits are with that one.
You think they're prepared for nighttime racing?
You bet they are. Well, on that shakeout from those pit stops, Rusty Wallace got out first. Mark Martin came out second. Darrell Waltrip wasn't so lucky. He came out in 3rd spot. You remember how hard he was trying? We'll take a look at what happened. There you see Wallace, followed by the Ford of Mark Martin. There's Mark Martin right there. So not good luck tonight for Darrell Waltrip on that pit stop, but great luck tonight for a guy named Clifford Sawyer of East Brunswick, New Jersey. Want to know why?
Because he won my car because I didn't.
He won your car. Indeed he did, thanks to the good folks at Gillette. He's got himself a Chevy Lumina. He picked that Chevy of Darrell Waltrip to get the trick done in halfway. Darrell picked up $10,000. Clifford Sawyer from East Brunswick, New Jersey. Congratulations, sir. Hope you enjoy it. Courtesy of Gillette.
Can I even enter the contest?
No, you can't.
Okay,
See,
me and my old pickup truck, I'll have to drive it a little while longer.
And of course, that catfish farm, you folks want to stay at least 100 yards away from that pickup truck, particularly if it's a warm day after he's been out on the farm for a while. 301 laps are complete. The light is off on the pace car. We're ready to go racing. Wallace first, Martin second, Waltrip third, Shepherd fourth, Earnhardt fifth, Rudd is sixth, Gant is seventh. It is Jeff Bodine in 8th, Kenny Schrader now 9th, Davey Allison 10th in this restart, Ernie Irvin is in 11th, Dale Jarrett 12th, Bill Elliott 13th. Musgrave finds himself back in 15th, Terry Labonte 14th. You're riding with Mark Martin. Just in front of him, a lap car. That's Alan Kowicki there. Mark Martin in 2nd spot. The end of that wall, pit wall, comes up in a hurry when you're riding with Mark Martin down on the inside. You miss it by inches at over 100 miles an hour. You miss it every time. If you ever collect it, you're going to miss the rest of the season.
Well, on the start, Rusty jumped out there. You know, that deal beating Walter by the pits is really going to be getting ready to black flag the 8 car. I'm not sure what the call is. Must have been some kind of problem on the start.
He's running 4th overall in the field. Remember, he is running a lap or 2 back from the leaders. 8 is being shown in 18th position. A lap down to the leaders. Dick Trickle out of Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. And there's your leader, Wallace. And Kowicki seems to have remedied some problems. He'd like to get a lap back in here. Alan Kowicki being shown in the 18th position. He a lap down as well. A total of 17 cars in the lead lap. Only 2 cars have retired from this 400-lap battle on this 3/4 mile track. And for the moment, Rusty Wallace is drawing away by some 15, 20 car lengths.
There's Rusty. You're talking about drawing away. When you've got the entire racetrack that to work with, it's fine. But here's the Wiki. He's the kind of driver you don't want to let him have that lap back. If he gets back in the lead lap and the caution comes out, he'll have a chance to run Rusty for the win. So Rusty's got to battle him to keep the lap down.
There you see Mark Martin's car taking us down the backstretch in second place. Kyle Petty is pleased about the changes made in the lighting system here at Richmond for tonight's race. This is what he said.
I think when we were here before, there were a couple of dark places on the racetrack. And, you know, and the darker the sky got, then, you know, you weren't sure whether it was water or oil or something on the racetrack a lot of times, and it would catch you off guard. I think they have done a lot of work. I think the company that puts up the lights, Musco or whatever their name is, I think they learned a lot at Charlotte that they can incorporate into a lot of other racetracks. And I think, you know, I think this is going to make this race a whole lot better, but the next racetrack they go to is going to be even better than this.
While we're listening to Kyle talk about the lights being better, even last night in the Busch race, there was a little bit of glare coming off the 4th turn. We're looking out of the car right here. You see him go down in the corner right here, no problem. But watch as they come up off the corner. See the big light pole up on the high side on the right? That light was really blinding last night. Gary Nelson and the guys got together. They moved the location of that light and really helped with that problem.
Musco Lighting out of Iowa has done a great job. Now here's Kowicki trying to get that lap back. And you'll note as you're watching those pictures from Mark Martin's car that Mark is closing up on this pair. Kowicki is a lap down in car number 7. He's in 18th position. He's trying to get back in the lead lap. He's muscling his way down there. He's willing to knock some fenders as he does right there. Wallace leading, but all of a sudden, the 6th car has really pulled up.
Mark Martin sitting there in this car right now. He said, okay, guys, have at it. Race all you want to race. Lean on each other. Burn the tires up. I'm coming. The more these two guys race, the better Mark Martin likes it.
And just behind them, in 3rd, is that number 17. There's Waldron. Those are your front 3. 312 laps down. We've got one car spinning. Davey Allison through the grass. Down the main straightaway. There is no caution coming out. He loops it again, and the car comes to a halt in the grass. Let's see if they're going to put out a yellow flag. He's well back. He's fired the motor. He's trying to get it out, and he's coming back on. But he'll go a lap down. Comes all the way up the track.
Man, right out on the track. He was lucky there. The 2 lead cars come in, and they were able to get around him on the right side. We saw that repeatedly last night, Ken, that this track has got a trial area. You spin, and last night there were 3 spins, no caution.
Davey Allison was in 10th, and now he's gone a lap down. And he may have used up a lot of tires on that one. Ricky Rudd goes to the inside on him here. There's Rudd in 5th position.
Here's a replay of Davey. He's out in the grass, and he's getting coming around. He's got the wheels turned, and look, they're almost turned the wrong way. You can't feel it in the grass, and it shot him right up in the racetrack, right in the groove. He's lucky he didn't get it coming back out on the racetrack.
That happened at lap 312. So now Allison goes a lap down. Rusty Wallace, for the moment, stays in front. Kowicki did not get his lap back. The 2nd position is Mark Martin. So it's Pontiac in 1st, Ford in 2nd, and Chevrolet in 3rd. And you're riding with Mark Martin right now in that Valvoline Ford in that 2nd position.
And when you look at that 2nd and 3rd position, if you look right over their shoulders, there comes Walter. Darrell got back on that restart. You see the 4th car on the right, back behind Mark Martin. He's gaining on him right now. He's closing in.
Earnhardt's in 4th. Rudd is in 5th. Schrader's just picked up his spot. He's gone around Harry Gant to take over in 8th. They're still at it out there. Schrader's made a great recovery. He has done a lot of racing tonight. Feeling well. Go back to the 4th of July. He had that operation for that pinched nerve in his neck. And he's here. This is for 8th. And Schrader giving it all he's got. He went up to Canada the other day and raced the best they had in Canada, a guy named Junior Handley. and he gave him a real tough race. Junior Hanley finally won it, came in first, and then Schrader was second, but I guess they had a good time.
One thing about it, when you race Harry Gant on this racetrack, he's not going to get in your way because he runs a different groove than everybody else. He's up high on the racetrack. He gives you that entire bottom. You can do what you want to do down there. Harry plays on a different part of the course.
Yep, and he does the same thing at Charlotte. Loves that high side.
I remember up at Dover and some places, he'd get up there and blow the dust off the walls every lap. He's just content to find him a place, and he'll just grind it in the ground.
Likes those RPMs. Just likes to keep that motor wound right up. You put it down on the inside, you have to pinch it a little. Harry loves that sound of that thing just full throttle all night. Look at him go. Harry Gant at number 33. Once again into 8th, and Schrader back to 9th. Right behind them, you see Dale Jarrett having a very good run in the Joe Gibbs car. Here's Mark Martin again, trying to get around Alan Kowicki and go up. Ooh!
Kowicki bounced it off the wall. You saw him get a little loose off that corner, and the right rear bounced off the wall. Got it straightened out, but the question is the tires rubbing?
Hey, next time by, describe going down through 3 and 4. You come right up against that end of that wall, and it's so abrupt. Let's just ride down through here.
Here we go. We're going down in 1 and 2. Right over here, you see Kowicki get right here. See the black mark on the wall right there? That's where Kowicki bounced off. Okay, you drive the car down the back straightaway. Dive to the inside, let it float out. But look to the left. See that? Those set of garbage cans right there? They've got some stuff to absorb some energy, but you just clip them almost every lap. And if you're racing a guy real close, you can get shoved over on it.
And if you get shoved over on it, behind those 3 55-gallon sand drums filled with sand, take away the energy if you go in, then you're going to find the concrete head on.
You're going to look like Joey Chitwood. There's a little ramp back there, and you'll take a few flips down through here. The 28 and the 5 car are beating all over each other. I don't know what happened. They got tangled here as they were coming back up through, and they've been working on each other pretty hard the last few laps.
There's Ford telemetry giving you an idea of just what Mark Martin's going through. He tries to get back in this thing. There's the number 5 of Ricky Rudd that is being shown in 5th position. And there you see Davey Allison's number 28, now back in 18th position.
Just a couple of laps before, Ken, I don't know what brought it on, but they were working real hard using up some sheet metal. They were going at it.
At 15, Jeff Bodine is just behind Allison. At 15, Bodine is 6th. 7th is Shepard. 8th is Gant. 9th is Jarrett. 10th is Schrader. 11th is Ernie Irvin. Terry Labonte is 12th out there in the Billy Hagan car. 13th is Elliott. 14th is Musgrave. 15th is Hensley. 16th is Richard Petty. And Kowicki in that car number 7 is running in 17th and trying to get a lap back, but not doing well with that. He is falling back into the clutches of the 2nd place competitor, Mark Martin, at this moment, and Mark may get it. Inside of Mark Martin's car as he closes in on him here. For a moment, Kowicki had pulled away by 2 or 3 car lengths. Now Martin is back after him.
Watch how quick the wall comes up right here. You get in the gas and you make a commitment and set the thing on the floor, and it almost tells you, almost tell yourself, it will not turn, and they get right the wall in and make that cut. It lays on that little bit of banking up there and makes the turn.
12 lead changes among 6 drivers thus far. Retirees from the race, only 3. Just 3 cars have come out. Derek Cope's car, Michael Waltrip after that hard hit, and Stan Smith is retired. 3 out. 32 remain with 327 of the 400 laps complete. So the battle continues for Rusty Wallace's first win of 1992. Mark Martin still searching.
Folks in these parts think Tom Lawton is the best thing to ever turn a wrench. But back east, they'll put their money down on the guys at McClellan's. It seems in every town there's always one place that does a little bit better job fixing your car. And it seems the things they all have in common are great mechanics, great service, and Napa parts. Look for the sign of quality car repair. Napa.
Jr. has the lead. One more turn to go. Here they come. The checkered flag is out. Little Al wins by just a few tenths of a second. Perhaps the closest finish in the history of the Indianapolis 500.
The race is on to make batteries that last longer. And today's Duracell batteries can even outrun the ones we made just a few years ago. Today's Duracell. You can't top the copper top.
Getting to know you. I drove literally every car in the same class. It boiled down to, I wanted a Geostorm.
Guys like a girl that knows how to drive a stick.
There's 140 horses in here. Can you... Hello? Horses? The cockpit's laid out like a jet.
You don't have to be a race car driver to drive a Storm, but you sure feel like one.
Getting to know you. If this car had wings, it would fly.
Now's the time to get to know Geostorm right around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear tires. The championship-winning technology that's found in the Eagle and Wrangler tires that Goodyear races can also be found in the Eagle and Wrangler tires that Goodyear sells. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
The Richmond 400 is brought to you by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America, and by AutoZone, the right parts at the right price.
Pennzoil aerial platform giving you this vantage of the 3/4 mile Richmond International Raceway, where 334 laps have been completed tonight, and it is Rusty Wallace's race to win for the moment, or to lose, as Mark Martin is now building up a head of steam to come after him, with Darrell Waltrip third, Earnhardt in fourth, having a great night, and the fifth spot belongs to Ricky Rudd. Let's go down to Rick Benjamin.
Again, let's show you the Autolite race story to this point. We're in the fourth quarter, fitting, I guess, for football season, but early on tonight, Ernie Irvan, Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace, and Mark Martin shared the lead over the first 100 or so laps, with Wallace really the dominant car. Moving into the second portion of the race, Wallace, then Irvan. We had the first caution of the night, Irvan, and then Darrell Waltrip, and Darrell really was in command for nearly 80 laps at that point, and he looked like he had the strongest car in the race as we worked past halfway. Harry Gant led a lap briefly, Darrell back in front, then we had that caution as Bobby Hamilton's brake problems caused him to spin. Darrell and Rusty Wallace have really been in command since then. Rusty with a 20-lap period out in front. Darrell got it back. Rusty reclaimed the lead for 30. Michael Waltrip's crash brought out the second caution of the night. Rusty Wallace took the lead back on lap 303, and that's where we stand right now as we work toward lap 330.
3 laps away, Rick, from 330 as we watch Rusty Wallace in command, hoping to get a word with Michael Waltrip shortly. Crew Chief Billy Engel retiring this past Monday. I think just frustrated and tired. Hard year on him. John Hewitt takes over, and in John's first night, they come home with a car badly crumpled after it was savaged up here in turn number 3. Wallace is still on a rail out in front, and the story is the interval between first and second spot between Rusty Wallace in this Pontiac and Mark Martin's Ford. Pick up that interval for you in just a moment and pass that along. There's how it looks on the racetrack. Wallace in first. Back to Martin. How about 4 seconds, Neil? That number 2 car, what they've got in it tonight.
Well, early in the race,
is eating the right foods.
You know, early in the race when he made up that lap on the green is a pretty good indication of what was going on. Waltrip was the only guy that seemed to have something for him, and Darrell kind of got shuffled a little bit on that pit stop, and he's not able to get back up there with him yet.
Penske brought down some of those Rogers vitamins or something for that car tonight, because it is flying. Staying out in front, Don Miller, the guy that oversees the whole operation down there. He's going to be ecstatic if this one comes through. Don Miller, a long-time racer. Went out to the Bonneville Salt Flats last couple of weeks. Got himself a new record. One of those old Top Fuel records. One of those old funny-looking cars that runs at Bonneville. About 154 miles an hour. It's good enough for him.
I tell you what, Don Miller's a racer. He loves to come to these things. He's been with Penske for years, and he jumped in here with Rusty on this Winston Cup team, and they've got it clicking now.
Martin in second, Waltrip third, Earnhardt is fourth. Let's go back to the STP Pit Center and Rick Benjamin.
Again, we're glad to have Michael Waltrip stopping by. Sorry you're here, though, at this stage of the race. What happened to you tonight?
Well, I, come down the back straightaway, and Richard evidently got up under me, and I didn't realize it. I didn't know he'd made a move, and hit me in the side and turned me around and hit the wall. It was unfortunate, we had the Pennzoil Pontiac running good tonight. We weren't great, but we were competitive. We were able to stay on the lead lap, and we had finally began running a few of the cars we were racing down. Had caught Dale Jarrett and a couple of other cars that were on the same lap with us, and felt like we finally had some good things go our way. Doug Hewitt joined our race team this week as a new crew chief for us, and we've had a great time working together. I told him before the race, I said, man, I hope everything goes good tonight, because I sure have enjoyed working with you, but unfortunately, that's not the way it was.
You certainly need some good luck. Speaking of good fortune, this guy has everybody covered. Does your brother have anything for him?
I don't think so. Rusty seems real stout. He ran off from him and made up a lap earlier, and now that he's got back on the lead lap, doesn't look like there's any catching that little Pontiac. It's running well. Mine, unfortunately, is in the garage.
Congratulations on your Grand National win at Darlington. Hope to see you in victory lane again soon, Michael Waltrip.
Well, we hope so, too. We feel like we can do that. I want to say hello to my boss's wife, Pat, back home. She hasn't been feeling too well, and I want to tell her that I love her and I hope she's doing okay tonight.
Michael Waltrip. A few words for Pat Ryder, listening down in Charlotte, North Carolina. And that's the same feeling of everyone here tonight, Pat. Chuck Ryder, one of the car owners everyone likes, and his wife, they're a real part of this outfit. Here you see Richard Petty's number 43. He's back there in 16th spot right now, and the abuse on the right side of that car looks pretty severe. We can see it when it comes around, Neil. He got chewed up real good.
Yeah, just a few laps ago, he got real loose coming off the second turn. Looked like he got up into the edge of the wall just a little bit, and he's got this side beat up pretty good already. He's been chewing under those tires.
And part of that was that car number 30 incident they were alluding to a few moments ago, but he's running back in the top 20 tonight. I tell you, that last race at Atlanta in November, his last time out after those 200 wins, maybe 201. We can all dream. Go for it, Richard. From inside Jimmy Hensley's car number 66, here's how things are going for the Trop Arctic car. Cale Yarborough's outfit. Jimmy Hensley, who is leading rookie standings. What is he, 47 years old? He's running 15th out here tonight.
Just one lap down. He got caught in that shuffle early in the race and been caught that lap down, can't get it back.
Andy Belmont, who has been second in those standings, great Pennsylvania runner, not here tonight, did not attempt to qualify. Jimmy Hensley, longtime Grand National competitor, and there you see him closing up on the 90, the Junie Donlevy car. Donlevy's all over the place these days. First of all, he's got the Max Card machine here for this race. And in it, he has Hut Strickland, released by Bobby Allison. Jeff Purvis now in the car, and you saw that announcement. What a big announcement that was for Junie Donlevy, that at number 90 will have Spencer, and apparently a lot of cash to try to get that number 90 back up there. There's a Virginia race team that everybody likes, certainly is part of the family, and they've always run well, no matter if they had a nickel or a quarter. Next year, they're going to have a lot.
There's Mark Martin's car. He's slowing down just a little bit. He's dropping back off the leaders, so I don't think he's got a problem so much as he just can't keep the pace that Rusty's throwing at him.
And Waltrip is closing down on him. There you see the 6, and just behind him comes that number 17. DW is back up looking for second place behind the number 6. There's the 6. And here comes Waltrip right after him. First to second is now 4 8/10 of a second. Here it's about 20 car lengths between these two, battling for second spot. Waltrip in third, Earnhardt in fourth, Rudd in fifth.
There's Rusty leading the race, and we'll take a break and see if he's still got it when we get back.
Hey, racing fans, Budweiser asks, who won it? October 19th, 1986, Rockingham, North Carolina. Pole sitter Tim Richmond looked as though he'd run away with the race. He led the first 130 laps of the 500-miler until a broken axle came along, putting Richmond behind the wall. That set up quite a duel between Morgan Shepherd and Dale Earnhardt, who between them had the field covered until Shepherd's axle broke. Earnhardt developed ignition problems soon thereafter. With 90 laps to go, it left 5 drivers up front at Rockingham. It was a wild sprint to the finish. Here's a list of the drivers to jog your memory. We'll be back with the winner after this.
a deadly journey
I want to know where the gold is.
uncovers an ancient secret.
They came in search of the Firewalker's gold.
A secret worth killing for. And dying for.
I get a feeling about this trip.
Chuck Norris, Lou Gossett Jr. Firewalker. 10:35 Eastern, Sunday morning on TBS.
Slowing down, that ain't you. No, that's not you. Easy drinking beer, that silver bullet smooth. Know where it's coming from, setting the mood. The pure taste of the Rockies and silver bullet smooth. Make the move, Coors Lights, it's silver bullet smooth.
Al Unser Jr. knows what it's like to win the Indianapolis 500 with 0.04 of a second to spare. Mark Martin knows if he lets someone cross his wake at 200 miles per hour, his car may be doing the lambada. And Joe Amato knows that at 296 miles per hour, he must pull his chute at precisely the right moment to keep from becoming an astronaut. Apparently, it is what you know.
The temperature never drops below Xerex. That's important to remember at a time like this, when it's very dark and very cold. Ah, you did remember Xerex Antifreeze. The temperature never drops below Xerex.
When it comes to making batteries that last, somebody's in high gear. Today's Duracell batteries can even outperform the ones we made just a few years back. You can't top the Comfort Top.
If you guessed Neil Bonnet, you're right. Here's how the event unfolded. Darrell Waltrip and Harry Gant battled for the lead for the next 27 laps. But then, with 62 laps to go, Bonnet slipped under Gant for the lead with Ricky Rudd close behind. Bonnet went on to hold off Rudd by 2 seconds, giving the Hueytown, Alabama driver his 16th career Winston Cup victory. Who Won It is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. With that clean, crisp, cold taste, nothing beats a Bud.
Gee, you were a good-looking winner.
I think they did that just to make me feel better.
That old car looked good. 362 laps are now complete here at Richmond, and this car looks great. Here's Rusty Wallace out in front for the Roger Penske team. Here's Roger Penske. He's won Indy, 8 times. Comes down here to run in Winston Cup races. Remember, he was down here in the latter part of the 70s into the early 80s. Had a few wins with, brought Donahue down. Bobby Allison drove for him. Dave Marcus drove for him. Rusty Wallace started with him in Atlanta, had that great run to second place. And it never quite worked, and then he disappeared for a while. Penske's back. They're really trying to put it together. Last time that Rusty Wallace won was up at Pocono. It was over a year ago. He's gone 34 races without a win. And the day he won at Pocono, you remember that was rain-shortened, Neil. Didn't go the distance. A lot of people said, yeah, sure, he won it, but it was because it rained. Hey, tonight, if he wins this, hands down, he's had him covered.
Yeah, and this is not going to be rain short. This is going to be Rusty Wallace raining on everybody else if he keeps going like he's doing right now.
Big old Rusty Wallace, Missouri Moon out here tonight. Meanwhile, number 17. There's Waltrip back in third spot, and he's under challenge. Earnhardt's back in it. The man in black is looking intimidating again.
While this is going on, it seems like Waltrip might be fading just a little bit. Let's go down to Randy Pemberton and Darrell's pit and see if we can find out what's going on.
Well, gentlemen, we talked to crew chief Doug Richard a little while ago and said, Doug, would you like to see any more caution flags? He said, definitely not. But right now he would. After the last caution flag brought out by Michael Waltrip, Darrell Waltrip's car went back out on the racetrack, and all of a sudden Darrell said, it feels like I'm driving on 4 flat tires. Now, he didn't mean that literally, but sometimes, even with a brand new Goodyear radial tire, sometimes there's a mismatch in the set. And Darrell Waltrip right now does not have the set of tires that he wants. Therefore, he's backing up. He's just going to have to ride it out this next 33 laps.
33 laps it is to the end of this Richmond 400. The 4-time winner, Darrell Waltrip, having a handful out here, and the guy right behind him, 2-time winner out here, Dale Earnhardt, closing in for third spot.
When we hear Randy talking about that, putting on a set of tires, and they're just like the other ones. I've had that Ken tell me they're just like the ones you had before, but sometimes for some reason they don't work the same. And when you get that on the car, just like Waltrip, we saw how strong he was before, and now he's fading real bad, so he has got a problem with the tires.
There you see the leader up behind Davey Allison, who's going down a lap again here. Mark Martin continues in second spot. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Ken, I'm in Mark Martin's pit. I came down and checked with Steve Mill, his crew chief, to see what the story on Mark's car was. Likewise, they don't want any more cautions. He said Mark said he was giving it all he had. He just wanted to hang on, try to finish second. The only chance they got to win, he said, was if something happened to Rusty Wallace. So Mark's still trying to hang on, take second.
This march by car number 2. Rusty Wallace up in front of Mark Martin in second place at the present time. Just incredible, and it goes back to this business about Buddy Parrott. He's won 25 Winston Cup races, and he is a really solid crew chief. He just does basics.
I see him right there. Did you see him waving his hand coming up off the corner? I don't know what that was about. We saw Mark Martin throw his hand up and wave real quickly. Maybe somebody ran right up on him off the corner, and he's a little bit of room behind him. So, and also, when you run up on a car, he's running up on Dave Marcus. They might have just wanted to let that guy behind him know, hey, I'm coming up on a lap car. I'm going to be a little bit cautious. Don't run over the back of me.
Ford telemetry giving you that idea of what he's going through as he gets ready to put a lap on car number 41, Marcus. And we're back inside once again.
We're off the back straightaway. What's the difference in the RPM? Here he goes down the back straightaway. We saw 81 or 8200 RPM at that particular time. Here they come up on the long front straightaway. Let's see if he's turning any more RPM down this longer straightaway. Should see just a little bit more. So 8300. That dog leg or that little bow in the front straightaway turns the motor a little bit more down through there. It's a little bit tougher on the engine, pulling it down that long straightaway. Still seeing some good mile per hour this late in the race.
Got a loose exhaust pipe out here on one car. They say that Jimmy Horton trying to get him in. Meanwhile, Mark Martin continues to work away. Here's Wallace out in front. Buddy Parrott teams have won 25 races dating back to 1977. This could be his 26th win as a crew chief tonight. As one of his sons working with him here. He was crew chief for Richard Petty's last 2 wins.
Randy Pemmer down in Rusty Wallace's pit. Let's get in there and see if we can find out what their strategy is for the last of this race.
Guys, no strategy here. Buddy Parrott, crew chief, he's talking to Rusty. He's doing a little waving, a little smiling. No strategy down here. He said, Rusty, how's the car doing? He said, things running great. How many laps to go? That's all Rusty wants to know.
How about 25 to go right now for Rusty Wallace? Trying to get back on the winning side of things in 1992. And he can do it if he can stay right where he is with just 25 more laps.
Folks in these parts think Tom Lawton is the best thing to ever turn a wrench. But back east, they'll put their money down on the guys at McClellan's. It seems in every town there's always one place that does a little bit better job fixing your car. And it seems the things they all have in common are great mechanics, great service, and Napa parts. Look for the sign of quality car repair. Napa.
Hey, Chris, toss me mellow yellow.
Oh, great. You're kidding.
Hey, don't worry about it, guys. I'll go back.
Yeah, we'll see you sometime next week. That's 60 miles back.
When you've got a real thirst, nothing can keep you from the ice-cold citrus taste of Mellow Yellow. No mountains high enough, no ditch deep enough, no road rough enough. Mellow Yellow. There's nothing mellow about it.
Hey, Kyle, how'd you get back so fast?
Me and the Hummer took a little shortcut.
Someone's taken some steps to juice up their batteries. And today's Duracell batteries can even outlast the ones we made just a few years back. You can't top the copper top.
Oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram Extra Guard oil filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram Extra Guard. American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
Promotional fees and considerations have been paid by the following: Goodyear, #1 in racing and makers of Goodyear Eagles, the most successful line of high-performance tires in the world. And by True Value.
Give your home beautiful protection with long-lasting True Test Weatherall house paint exclusively from True Value hardware stores and home centers.
And by Purolator Filters. You can't buy better engine protection than Purolator Filters.
Tomorrow night on TNT, join Gary Bender and Pat Hayden for all the hard-hitting action as the Eagles take on the Cardinals. That's 8 p.m. tomorrow night, Sunday night, the NFL on TNT. Talk about hard-hitting action. Rusty Wallace has just run a perfect race. He had an incredible mid-race battle. It went on for 25 laps side by side with Darrell Waltrip. And Waltrip now apparently has on a set of tires that he wishes he didn't have on. He has fallen back. Waltrip is in third, in danger of falling down to fourth. Right now you see the Wally Dallenbach car, number 16 for the Jack Roush team, trying to get a lap back from Darrell.
Just in case I can't guarantee any more accidents, we're going to go no more commercials till the end of the race. We're going to go green all the way and have a race here.
385 are complete, 15 to go to the end of this race, and it's 3/4-mile track, $600,000 at stake. Here you see Rusty Wallace right behind him, Ted Musgrave in the 55. He's had a good night. Running in 11th, Ted Musgrave, the Jasper car. That has been a toughie. Musgrave's a good driver. Another one of those Midwest drivers, like Coolidge, like Wallace, that's come on over. A lot of guys very interested in his future.
Right there in front of Rusty Wallace is Kenny Schrader and Ernie Irvin. They're racing for position. So they're not going to just pull over, roll over and play dead. They're going to keep racing right in front of Rusty.
And they're racing for 9th position. That's Schrader with it for a moment. Irvin comes right back another time. Oop. Schrader chances it right up to the wall.
We've seen this show for about 20 laps. They've been doing it over and over and over. And those little wheel marks on the side of those cars have been happening every few laps.
Well, more than 20, Neil. Remember, we've seen Earnhardt in one of these skirmishes. We've seen Mark Martin in a great race earlier tonight. But that battle between Rusty Wallace and Darrell Waltrip was a sight to behold.
You almost sense when you look back there and see Rusty Wallace. Here we are with 11 laps to go. That Rusty says, hey, I don't need to be in the middle of this. I've got a big lead. Let me roll back here and see if we can just finish this race. If I can back off the pace and win this thing, that's what I need to do.
Well, there you see Dale Jarrett. He's been limping around over the past few laps. He had a great start tonight in the Joe Gibbs car. Worked right up in front. Now that car has gone off considerably from where it was. And he has fallen back into the 23rd position.
Yeah, they said Dale Jarrett had lost the brakes on his car, so he's riding it out.
10 laps remaining. 10 to go. 9th place. About to get gobbled up if Rusty Wallace wants to commit. Try to move around him. He may be happy and secure staying right where he is. He has a fairly good interval between himself and Mark Martin in 2nd position. Waltrip back in 3rd. Tires that aren't balanced up quite like he wished. Earnhardt stays 4th. Jeff Bodina's in 5th. Ricky Rudd is in 6th. We'll take a look at that interval between 1st and 2nd, give you an idea of how they're running.
Here's Rusty coming up 4th turn.
There's the leader coming by. And here comes number 6, Mark Martin. And it's a little over 4 seconds between 1st and 2nd place.
And he's got 8 laps to go, Ken. He can just give away a little bit each lap. Give it away, and don't take any chances. Just see if you can ride it on out there.
392 complete. Crowds on their feet in the backstretch. They all came up together. They're excited about this Rusty Wallace run here tonight. Apparently they sold some company tickets, and they're pretty thrilled about it, the way this is going. We'll be back here in March again. Hope you'll be with us on TBS. And you better get your tickets early. This Richmond International Raceway, no matter how many seats they add, they can't add enough. Track is so competitive and so full of exciting stock car racing. It acts like a short track, but it's got the speed of a super. It's a great facility.
Yeah, like you said, every time they open the gate, they break records. You just keep adding seats and bringing more people.
What surprised me was last night. That's the biggest crowd for a Grand National show. They had 200 laps. And to see the kind of race we had last night, 5 laps remaining here. Robert Presley defeating Darrell Waltrip in that great run to the flag. And both of them were happy about it. Counting off the laps, the Valvoline team for Mark Martin in second place.
He's seeing the same thing we see on that stopwatch.
4
seconds. And 5 laps to do it. So being realistic, if nothing happens to him.
Neil, we talk about feeling great up front. How does it feel to be second right now?
Well, it beats the heck out of third. That's about all you can say for it. You think they won't be a celebration if Rusty Wallace wins this race? They've struggled and struggled, and I've heard repeatedly all year long, what's wrong with Rusty? What's wrong with Rusty?
What's wrong with the team is what I kept saying.
Yep. Well, that's what I'm talking about. When Rusty supposedly owns the team, but they got it going their way now.
Look at this battle for 6 going on. As Morgan Shepherd in the Wood Brothers car goes after Ricky Rudd.
This is the position of the racetrack.
Rudd is in 6. Morgan's trying to take it away.
It's a lot easier to say, boy, I finished 5th last night. This I finished 6th. I say I finished the top 5. So this means a lot right here. They're going to try to. Morgan's working as hard as he can to get around Rudd.
Meanwhile, the man that qualified 3rd for tonight's race. After 34 setbacks, team in disarray earlier in the summer. Looking like they've got it back together once again.
With Buddy Parrott.
Oh, I can remember when he was a tire buster for Goodyear. Was a great diver.
I'm not sure he's not straining more now than when he used to mount those tires watching this race.
Best part of the show used to be after race to go down to the motel and watch him. He was a clown diver for some circuit. He was terrific. Doesn't do that anymore. Got his war face on out there tonight. What a heck of a guy.
Well, they turned this into a 3-ring circus tonight for themselves.
Out to be a big splash through the pool of champagne in Victory Lane for Rusty Wallace. 1989 Winston Cup champions under a white flag. Getting ready to wrap it up. Checkers are down, and Rusty Wallace has finally done it. Put one together in 1992. The Miller car comes home in first in their own race. How about that?
I tell you what, when Rusty wins one of these big races, he jumps on the roof. They're liable to bend her up.
Second, Mark Martin. Third is Darrell Waltrip in the Richmond 400.
For Law and Order, the future looks bleak. Mel Gibson.
We're gonna give them back their hero.
Mad Max. 11 Eastern tonight on TBS.
Wouldn't it be great if your neighbor was Wally Dallenbach, the Keystone Beer Winston Cup driver?
Wally, great car. Want to take it for a spin, Dave?
A spin?
And keep her under 170, Dave.
170? See Wally Dallenbach, or possibly his neighbor Dave, race the Keystone Beer stock car in the Winston Cup Series.
Well, how'd you drive, Dave?
Well, she drifts a little in 3. No problem. But we need to bleed the brakes. It's
Wouldn't
a
that
problem
be
there.
great?
Mark and my relationship goes way past business. I'm sure in a previous life he and I were twin brothers. Throughout the race, the driver and crew chief communicate. The driver complains about the car or brags about the car. It's the crew chief's job on pit stops to make whatever fixes he can to help the driver's predicament. Everyone has about the same access to equipment and technology, but the people who rub on it the most and think the most of it and think about it the most will end up winning the race.
Today, performance cars come in a variety of designs, sizes, and even prices. So do Goodyear Eagles, the world's most successful line of performance tires. There are all-season Goodyear Eagles, new ultra-performance Goodyear Eagles. There are Goodyear Eagles for the classic and for the contemporary. No matter what performance car you own, there's a Goodyear Eagle priced for you. It's another reason we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
A deadly journey.
I want to know where the gold is.
Uncovers an ancient secret.
They came in search of the Firewalker's gold.
A secret worth killing for. And dying for.
I get a feeling about this trip.
Chuck Norris, Lou Gossett Jr. Firewalker. 10:35 Eastern, Sunday morning on TBS.
Rusty Wallace has won the Richmond 400 with Mark Martin coming home in second. Darrell Waltrip is third tonight, Dale Earnhardt in fourth, and Jeff Bodine wraps up the magic top five. On the three-quarter-mile Richmond International Raceway, all eyes are focused down here at the start-finish line area. Victory Lane is where the action is for the moment, and there's only one person there to celebrate. There he is, Rusty Wallace. Not exactly one, that whole crew standing by, and here he comes out of his car, a very elated Rusty Wallace after this run tonight at Richmond. Randy?
Rusty Wallace, fantastic run for you. It's been some 40 races. Here again, his crew chief in here, Buddy Parrott. Rusty, what about it?
Well, the car handled perfect. Buddy made some great calls today. I mean, the car, everybody did a perfect job. Killer pit stops, motor ran great, car handled perfect. All I can say is that, you know, where I think we're back. I mean, Buddy's really leading the team good, and we're a lot of organization. Everything's clicking perfect right now. So I couldn't be happier. And this is the first race all year long that Roger Penske's been to. And he stood up there and cheered me on, and he got to see me win finally. So I loved it. And Pontiac and Goodyear and all the guys, you know, deserved it.
Buddy Parrott, a long time coming for you guys. You just joined this team not too many weeks ago.
Well, that's true, and I really enjoyed it. I tell you, we've got a heck of a group of guys. They were all in place, and all I've done is just kind of come in there and be the old senior citizen, I guess, so to speak. But we're really having a great time, and it was a great race for us. And Roger Penske's here tonight, and I tell you what, man, everybody told me about him talking on the radio, but we were doing some talking. It's our engine man, David Evans. I tell you one thing, a lot of credit for David tonight. I tell you, great engine.
Great engine. Rusty, any problems out there whatsoever? You just about got a lap down at one time, and you flew out there and made it up under green.
No problems whatsoever. The only problem I had was, you know, when we hit pit road on a scheduled green and the caution flew, we just had to drive hard and get it back. But the car handled so perfect, man. It's just I could drive it straight to the front. And just like to thank Hertz Penske Leasing. I mean, everybody, AC Spark Plugs, Mobil Oil, Pontiac, everybody.
I'll tell you, this is one happy team. This is one happy driver here. Rusty Wallace, the 1989 Winston Cup champion. They're going to do a lot of celebrating here in Victory Lane.
Sometimes they take a victory lap. He took 2 laps of honor around this three-quarter-mile oval tonight. Rusty Wallace victorious. Glenn Jarrett is standing by with another guy who gave it a great go, Mark Martin.
Mark, awfully strong run tonight, but came up a little short, but you got to be happy. That was a great run.
The Valvoline team's solid right now, solid as a rock. You know, it's a shame that we couldn't win tonight, but Rusty and those guys were just incredible, especially after the last hop. I'd have to say that, you know, a lot of the night we were a little bit quicker than Rusty, but when it counted, he was awesome. I thought we were gone there, you know, at the end, but he was just on up there out of sight, really strong. But, you know, the tires worked great all night. The long green sessions helped us because, you know, our tires just stayed on us. Goodyear's just got some great radials working for us right now, and I couldn't be happier with the way things are going. I'd like to win, but keep running like we're running. We're going to win a bunch of races.
Well, during the night, we know you had to make some adjustments on the car. The cool temperatures kept the car a little bit tight, probably a little bit tighter maybe than you would like.
We started a race probably pretty good, and then we thought we were getting a little loose. We tightened up, and then we were too tight. Then we loosened back up some, you know, and we were just kind of bobbing around there, you know. There was part of the time we were real good and part of the time we were chasing it, but that's the way it is, you know, these racetracks and all this, you know, you get all those cars running around this racetrack, the track changes from hour to hour.
Okay, Mark, congratulations on a good run.
Equaling his best finish, second place back in 1990, Mark Martin. 104.6 miles per hour. That's a new record for this race. Breaks Harry Gant's old mark. Rusty Wallace did it.
When it comes to Three's Company,
everyone's got an opinion.
Too hot, babe. Guy moves in. What's the question? He just needed a place to stay.
You couldn't ask for a better gig.
Women are all over this dude.
Come on.
It's all simply platonic.
Yeah, right.
Any way you look at it, this is one funny show.
Three's Company on TBS.
Oh, that's a good idea.
6:05 Eastern beginning Monday on TBS.
Everyone talks about how racing technology makes their street cars better. What they fail to say is whose race technology has won more than anyone else. Chevrolet. The cars more people depend on.
A noble warrior advised, the art of protection springs from within. One must stay vigilant against one's unfragrant perspiration, lest one provoke a hostile response. Thus, a Norse ritual is Right Guard Sports Stick. An aromatic array of the freshest scents and maximum protection against disarming wetness. Confirming the wisdom, the best defense is not to offend. Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
At age 74, I'm the oldest Ironman triathlete.
Jim Ward has a hobby. It's called staying young.
It's a workout.
That's why he uses Armor All protectant on his dash, seats, and especially his tires. Rubber can age and crack, but Armor All penetrates to keep his tires looking like new. Jim says his tires never seem to get old. People say the same thing about Jim.
I like a good-looking car. It makes me feel good.
There is a fountain of youth, and we own the patent. Armor All.
I gotta run.
And let's greet the man who finished third here tonight. Randy Pemberton's with Darrell Waltrip.
Well, I'm here with a very happy Darrell Waltrip. You just said a win, place, or show. It doesn't matter. You had a heck of a run out there.
No, I had a fun. Man, I'm having so much fun out there racing. My car is so good, and the guys are doing a great job. And the Western Auto Chevy is just jamming all the time. It's right there going after them, and I'm loving every minute of it. Me and Rusty were racing there, and I was like, oh, this is wonderful. I hadn't done stuff like this in 10 years. So had a great night. Praise the Lord for a safe race. Say hi to Stevie and Sarah and Jessica. What can I say? I needed to win again tonight, but so did Rusty. I'm happy for him. He needed a win. He drove good tonight, and I'm happy for him.
Well, first of all, Darrell, what about the change in the car? Wasn't quite exactly like you wanted at the end.
Made a bad call. When I was running with Rusty, I was too tight. In other words, the front end was pushing. And I told the guys, I said, if we get a caution, we take a couple rounds of bite out of this thing, I believe I can blow right by him. Wrong, DW. Stevie takes the car to Western Auto. Just made a bad call, and it hurt us. And thought I might be able to chase Mark down, but couldn't do it.
Well, that's one thing. He's not going to blame the car owner because he is the car owner. So there you go.
Car owner's on the Caribbean cruise right now.
Congratulations, Darrell. Great run.
Waltrip's had a second, 2 firsts, and a third in his last 4 races. Let's meet the guy who's put this team for Rusty Wallace together.
Ken, I'm standing with Roger Penske, a very, very happy Roger Penske. And how long had it been since you've seen a stock car win?
Well, I said I didn't see Rusty make any of his wins last year. I said probably since the Matador won, so it's been a long time. It was a big night for us tonight.
Well, you have to be awfully happy, particularly to be here to see it. But it looks like Buddy Parrott has made a big, big difference in your racing operation.
Well, I listened to the radio all night, and Buddy really had control of Rusty, the car, the crew, and he's really coming, bringing his team alive. And we, of course, I've never seen more competitive racing. I got to take my hats off to all the drivers out there. Anybody can win on a given night, and we're just glad that we can be part of the show.
Well, one more question now. If this is how the team's going to perform when the boss is here, are you going to have to show up every week now?
Yeah, I'm going to have to tell Mears and Fittipaldi I've got to move down here.
Okay, congratulations, Roger.
Thanks a million.
To the STP Pit Center and Rick Benjamin.
Well, Ken, as you know, True Value Hardware posts $5,000 at each Winston Cup race, all 29 of them. For the drivers who run in the top 5, it's called the True Value Hard Charger Award. Here's how things shook down tonight. Rusty Wallace picks up an extra $1,500 in his pay envelope by winning tonight's Hard Charger standings. Darrell Waltrip, Mark Martin, Ernie Irvin, Ricky Rudd, Morgan Shepherd, the top 6 tonight. These points are accumulated over the course of the season. There's a $50,000 kitty at the end of the year. Davey Allison at the moment leads the season standings. But tonight, again, hats off to Rusty Wallace, who wins the True Value Hard Charger Award.
Davey Allison slipping back there tonight. Tough night for Davey Allison. Well, we're going to take a quick break and then be right back to wrap it up tonight from Richmond International Raceway. Celebration continues for Rusty Wallace, Miller Clark.
Wouldn't it be great if you could afford a luxurious mansion? For you and all your friends? Of course, the place needed some updates, like a bowling alley and a pool table. Naturally, it'd have an open house.
Food's here!
With beer!
Harold, do something!
Icy, cold-filtered Keystone, Keystone Light, and Keystone Dry. Bottle beer tasted in a can. Now, wouldn't that be great?
Get official WCW stuff.
This stuff up here is cool!
It's hot, it's happening, it's official WCW stuff. Caps, tees, and more. Official WCW stuff.
That's so pretty!
You can order official World Championship Wrestling stuff from the WCW merchandise catalog. Get yours today. Call 404-885-7168 to get your free official WCW merchandise catalog.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
The Richmond 400 is brought to you by cold-filtered Keystone, Keystone Light, and Keystone Dry. By Goodyear, #1 in tires. By Valvoline Motor Oil. People who know use Valvoline. By Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. And by Fram Oil Filters. You can pay a little now or a lot later.
Welcome back to Richmond International Raceway. Things are still lit up here, but it's silent at this point because our evening's competition is over. Rusty Wallace, an easy winner tonight. He pretty much checked out on the field in the last 100 laps, as we've shown you. One of the stories we've been following, of course, all night long here from the STP Pit Center, the situation regarding the Winston Cup point battle. Now 6 races to go this season. Let's find out what happened after tonight's action. Bill Elliott maintains his point lead. He gained a little bit of ground tonight on Davey Allison. The margin now 134 points. Alan Kulwicki, though, with the stronger finish, gained some ground on Elliott. Kulwicki at the moment trailing by about 154 points, if my arithmetic is correct. Harry Gant in 4th, also gaining a few points tonight on Elliott, as did Mark Martin, who remains 5th. Martin with a strong 2nd place. Here's the second 5 in the season-to-date standings. Darrell Waltrip with 2,800-plus points. Kyle Petty just a few behind him. Then Ricky Rudd, Dale Earnhardt, and Morgan Shepherd. Morgan Shepherd gaining ground tonight, also with a very strong top 5 run. Of course, everyone chasing the $1 million Winston Cup prize that'll be awarded in January in New York. So certainly a lot at stake for these drivers. And again, 6 races to go after tonight's show. So hats off to Bill Elliott, able to maintain his advantage and actually build it a little bit over Davey Allison. Now, one thing that we've been meaning to take a moment and talk about tonight, as you know, racing's Allison family, the Bobby Allison family, has suffered a major loss a few weeks ago at Michigan. Younger son Clifford Allison was killed in a tragic practice crash for a Busch Grand National race at Michigan. His wife Elisa and their children asked us to thank all of you tonight. The racing community has turned to in wonderful numbers, and they've created an educational fund for the 3 Clifford Allison children. Elisa asked us to mention that time does not permit her to personally thank everyone. Of course, it would be an impossibility, so we're going to do that for the Allison family tonight. Thanks to all of you who've responded with wonderful gifts and generous contributions to the Clifford Allison family.
Nice thought from Rick Benjamin about Clifford. Well, get down to the end of this one tonight, Neil, and here's Rusty Wallace doing what he always did he liked to do the most, is come down out of that 4th turn with all the tires smoking, and he really had that one hitched up all night.
I think we heard the sentiment when we heard Darrell Waltrip say, I wanted to win, but boy, Rusty needed it. If anybody needed a win, Rusty Wallace. He's got Penske back and he's got the big dollars with him. and you've got to produce, and now they got that win behind them. You'll see a lot more.
And, of course, Mr. Lucky picked him here tonight. Who are you going to pick for October 11th on TBS when we're down at Charlotte for the 500, the Mellow Yellow?
You know, I didn't win the car. I knew who was going to win. I forgot to get in the pot. I missed everything tonight.
Well, you didn't miss on Rusty Wallace. What a great ride he gave, and Neil has said that was the guy to really watch, and indeed he was throughout the entire program. All the way from the middle of the race when he was a lap down, made it up, fought his way back in. It was a Rusty Wallace show. So, with this one down, and we take a look at the points, Davey took a big hit tonight. Davey Allison fell back. What do you think, Neil?
It shows you how it can turn around in such a hurry. The first part of the race, it looked like Davey Allison was going to be in the lead lap, have Elliott down, and gain a lot in points. A little turnaround on a caution, a little spin, and all of a sudden he loses more. It's hard to say how it's going to go. It can change in any race, and we got a lot of races to go.
Hey, one of those things that's really surprised me is how those old crew chiefs have really come around. Here you've got Jake Elder back in with Waltrip, and all of a sudden he's winning. All of a sudden you bring back another big name to work with Rusty Wallace, and it happens all over again.
Old crew chiefs. What about Gant winning races? Here's Waltrip. Everybody's talking about him retiring. He's winning again. Age doesn't mean a whole lot. Competitiveness in a driver and a crew chief, when you get them mixed up, they're going to win races.
Indeed. Let's get a quick thought down on pit road from Glenn Jarrett.
Well, thanks, guys. First of all, I want to tell you I appreciate the opportunity to work with you tonight, and it is good to see Rusty Wallace back in victory lane. You know, but you saw some other veterans in recent weeks. Darrell Waltrip has been awfully strong, and tonight Dale Earnhardt made a good, strong run coming in fourth place. Also, Jeff Bodine, when you come to Richmond, the old veterans seem to come to the front. So very competitive racing tonight. Heck of a show. This is always a fun place to come to and work, and thanks a lot. Now let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Well, I'll tell you, this sport, it really always amazes me. You look at the NFL or NBA, and you can win some games and lose some games. There's always next week. But in this sport, there's only one thing, that is winning. And Rusty Wallace hadn't done that in just about some 40 races after being a strong contender and winning the Winston Cup Championship back in 1989. That man's a happy man, and I'm happy for him.
Well, our thanks again to the Nashville Network for the loan of Glenn Jarrett to help us out with Dr. Dick Bergman not here tonight, his mother passing away. Again, Dick, our very best to you, and our best to all you race fans. Will come up on October 11th and the 10th as well. We'll have the Grand National race on Saturday and back on Sunday for the Mellow Yellow 500. And we sure hope you'll be with us right here on TBS for all the live flag-to-flag action. That's it for tonight. Rusty Wallace has done it with a record-breaking run. For Rick Benjamin, Randy Penburton, Glenn Jarrett, Neil Bonnet, I'm Ken Squire, saying goodnight from Richmond International Raceway, where Rusty Wallace took the monkey off his back big time.
A deadly journey.
I want to know where the gold is.
Uncovers an ancient secret.
They came in search of the Firewalker's gold.
A secret worth killing for. And dying for.
I get a feeling about this trip.
Chuck Norris, Lou Gossett Jr. Firewalker. 10:35 Eastern, Sunday morning on TBS.
introducing a dandruff shampoo just for women. Selsun Gold for women, with the #1 doctor-recommended dandruff medicine, plus our new conditioning system. New Selsun Gold for women, effective on dandruff, gentle on hair.
Here we go again, guys. Wow! I feel good. Yeah, this guy really gets around. He's got the auto lights. American Orient Paul, we're guaranteed. I feel good. Yeah, 2 years no matter how far he goes. That's why we've been everywhere. Vegas. I feel good. Yeah. Daytona. I would now. LA. Wherever we're going. The Superman! Yeah! And we're not even tired.
I don't need some fancy aftershave to tell me I'm a man. And I don't need some expensive cologne to make time with the ladies. I use Skin Bracer. It smells great. It also cools my skin, tones it up, and takes care of it after a good close shave. I don't need anything more. Confidence is very sexy, don't you think?
Skin Bracer Aftershave, more than a great scent.
By Menon.
Atlanta's out to widen their lead in the West, but Houston's young guns are there to prove that raw energy